Okay, thank you. Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of April 15th, 2026, tax day. Okay, sorry. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the Commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. All matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. Okay. Well, roll call, please.
Jessica Parr,
Scott Sobey.
Paula Jean O'Neill,
Sandy Slavin.
Michael Mercier.
Kwame Body.
I declare we have a quorum and we're open. Let's see, before we start, we have 4 openings on this board commission, 3 associates and 1 voting member. Please, if you're listening to us, consider joining us on the first and third Wednesday to talk about our wetlands and protect them. We really do need some volunteers to step up. It's an important board. All right, what else was there? We had a lot of violations for the last 2 weeks. I found on 15th Street, someone has put a structure on the beach. And then there's another one. And let's see, what else? Oh, somebody told me about a whole bunch of soil being delivered to 15 Narrows. We're going to have an on-site visit to that sucker. Okay, then I also was told someone was cutting trees down on Burgess Point Road on Mass Audubon property. I'm sending them pictures and a note about where that happened. So is there anything else I wanted to cover before we start the meeting? We have something else. Right, almost there. I think that's it. Okay. Camp management plan, you're here to give us an update to where you stand, please. Who's going to represent that project?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is Mike Lenahan. I'm the president of cleanup of Agawam Mill Pond Inc. Camp. I think most of you have seen me here for the last 10 years or so, doing the same thing. And we test the pond and we clean it and we keep it free of invasives. And I think we've pretty much made a beautiful public resource for the community and beyond. I mean, the number of fishing tournaments have expanded greatly. The number of kayakers coming from the local area. It's a beautiful place. But, so, I don't be too repetitive, but I mean, you know that we coordinate everything through Division of Marine Fisheries, through DEP, and through endangered species, fish and wildlife. So, we prepare a plan every year on what we're going to do in conjunction with our consultants, and we submit it to these agencies who have been with us from the beginning since we first started talking about doing this 12 years ago. And they've crafted a plan that we've assembled and put together to what they want to do. And so they review it every year and approve it. And then we come in and talk to you guys and let you know that we had everything approved. And at the end of every year, we also submit a final report to the state agencies on what happened. So I guess we could start with the final report in 2025. I sent it to you guys in December, and everything was beautiful. Everything was just the way we planned it, and it was a successful, very successful season. And so then, now we're into the new season, and we have a plan which is very similar to other plans we put forward. We sent that out to the agencies. They looked at it, reviewed it, and they all approved it, and here we are. So, we typically, you know, the products we use, right, they're all EPA approved, of course, DEP approved, study after study after study, and very successful. Same products used in 250 ponds in Massachusetts alone, and successful. So we're pretty fortunate that we have the products that we have to do the job. And Massachusetts actually, you know, when they approved this, they actually, you know, took conservative approach to it. So the percentages that we use, or the dosages, they're 50% of what the national, you know, what EPA approves and what most of the states are doing. So, and so we typically do 10 to 15 acres out of a 150-acre pond. So we're doing, you know, less than 10% of the pond on any given season. When 2 acres over here, 3 over there, 5 over there. So any places where these invasives, you know, start to show up again. So we keep them at bay, and that's what we do. And I brought some people from our association. They're all, you know, probably 2/3 of the abutters are members of the association, and we finance this thing 100%, you know, on our own with fundraisers that we do and so forth. We come up with the money, and it's not easy, but we're still viable, and we expect to continue that way. So, any questions I can answer for you guys?
Thank you. As part of your order of conditions, you are to give us an annual update, and that's what you're here to do.
Okay.
Correct.
I don't think it's in there, but,
Oh, I
I mean, I think I did, it's not an issue. If it's in there, I'm
But
doing
it's-
it. If it wasn't in there, I'm doing it.
We've asked you to come to us every year and give us an update
Yes.
with what's happening
Yeah.
and what's being planned.
Yep.
Okay. There was a lot of documents that had come before us regarding this project. So I'm going to ask if there's any questions. Christine, can you tell me when his order of conditions expire?
Find it.
Okay,
No,
But-
we'll be coming before you again over the winter, because I'll need a new one for...
a new one. So that,
Expires in May of '27.
okay, that explains, we have that, May of '27.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure there are questions, and I will start with Scott.
The last time you were before us, I asked specifically you and your consultant at that time to provide data not only on the products themselves, their 2 main herbicides, but on their breakdown products. I was going to call them, I don't know if they're metabolites or not, but I'll call them breakdown products. These are halogenated compounds which are notoriously difficult for the environment to degrade. And I have not seen, unless I've missed something, I have not seen those specific data. You, I know, are testing or have to test through, I think, a UMass laboratory, a very sophisticated laboratory for detecting these compounds. And it should be no problem whatsoever for them to detect these breakdown products by the same methodology they're using for the main parent compounds. So could you address...
I really don't know what you're talking about. Did you send it to me?
When the last time you appeared before us with your previous consultant,
Yeah.
I asked you and the consultant to provide those data, and he wrote that down and said it was not a problem to have those data concluded in the annual report.
No, I don't believe that was the case, because it is a problem for us financially.
It shouldn't be.
So, in other words, I have an order of conditions, as you know, and it's not in there. That would have required a change. And these things are, the test that you're talking about, if I recall, is soil, something in the soils, right?
Soils and waters.
We're doing water tests all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what the DEP wants, and that's what all the agencies want, Scott. So I'm not sure what happened, or where did you, if you sent something, or you were communicating with the consultant, I didn't get a copy of it.
You were here in the room when I asked for those items, and you can be certain that those will be part of the new order of conditions, if I have anything to do with it, when the new
Well,
ones
let
are
me
written.
just,
And excuse me, Mike.
I don't want to
I
argue about that now, but,
did forward to you
Yep.
Scott's concern and request for that test. I sent it to you maybe about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
a
And you
concern for Scott,
that
there's-
he
I don't
ha-
have any details on any tests that he wanted of any specifics, okay? I do recall you, we talking about it to the consultant, and then it was gone. So I'd heard nothing further from you or the board. So,
I will find
Right.
my email that gave you a heads up that this was requested and we
oh,
hadn't
you mean
heard.
for tonight?
Yes,
Yeah.
in
I got
preparation
that.
for tonight.
That's
Yes.
why we're talking about it.
Yes.
But I didn't know anything about, you didn't copy me, because anything went to me, and I imagine it should have gone
Not
from the
copy you.
commission.
He sent it to me, and I sent it to you, saying that Scott has a concern regarding some testing of the
Yeah,
soil.
but, no, we're talking two different things. That's right. I heard he had a concern. I don't know what the concern was, because I don't have anything copied from him on specifics of anything like that,
All right.
so.
Keep in
But-
mind that you're going to be asked, these will be questions when it comes time to renew your order of conditions. Be
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know that much about these tests. All I know is that nobody in Massachusetts is doing these except possibly us, and they're expensive. But, we could, over the winter, I can hook up with Scott, with DEP, and see if we can find some funding mechanism to do this.
Well, last time you were here, he made a big deal out of the sophisticated equipment that this UMass laboratory was using to detect these things in the waters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a mass spectroscopist, but I've worked with it enough to understand that the sophisticated software that they use to control these devices is more than adequate to determine whether these breakdown products are in the soil and water.
I did send you you wanted the description of the test procedures, and I sent you that in the final report.
Yeah, that's which
So
makes
I don't really know what they can do up there regarding what you're looking for, but I mean, we can explore that.
Yeah, well, I remember specifically that your consultant said that's not a problem for them to do that.
Yeah,
And he
well,
wrote down a note, and I know
you were
you've
paying
changed.
for it, it might not be a problem for anybody, but somebody's got to pay for it. And as a matter of fact,
I'm not interested in you interrupting me anymore.
oh, I'm sorry, we're having a discussion back and forth.
Yeah, and you'll wait till I finish the sentence, please, before you interrupt me again.
You got it.
I know you've changed consultants, and it may be that it was lost in the changeover from one to the other. But this is something that needs to be taken care of before we progress any further, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't believe I'm the only member of this panel to have these same concerns.
Well, can I speak? Again, I think this is much more complicated than what you're talking about here, like specifics, costs, and everything else, and I'm willing to work with you, okay, over the fall or winter to get this taken care of as best we can. But I mean, right now, it's a very, very technical, and UMass Lab, all right, we just found out that, they were doing a study on Flume for a long time, and they were doing the test for us for free. Well, I'm going to pay $3,000 for testing this year, okay, just for those water samples. These are the things, we have to maintain viability here, and we're not opposed to doing any kind of testing that's critical or that the state or somebody would want, But if no one else in the whole state is doing this testing, but again, I don't want to debate it here either, really. I just assume, I'll meet with you and we can talk with our consultants and we'll see what you want. We can meet with DEP and see if we can get something accomplished. But I have an order of conditions. I'd like to proceed with that for this year. It's 2 months away. I asked, when I sent everything in, if there was any technical questions like this, that we could probably have someone here to help address it, but I got no questions except right now, so.
Is there any questions regarding this upcoming plan that has been shared for the coming season? Jessica,
No questions.
anything else, Scott? I know where you stand on your testing. Paula Jean,
No other questions other than what we were just discussing.
I get you.
Michael,
No questions, thank you.
Kwame,
No questions, thank you.
Christine, anything for you?
No, not really. The only thing I was thinking is, when I was looking at the new consultant, they seem to use a product called Sonar, I believe. Is there any way in the future that you guys might consider using that at some point, just as like a heads up?
Yeah, we've looked at that. It's not an appropriate product for our moving body of water, so,
Okay.
yeah, that's the only difference. I mean, it's a good thing our body of water is moving because it flushes out, but sonar needs to be like a 30-day contact time and things like that, but we'll look at that, But,
I was just
I mean,
looking-
I always, even my new consultants, like, make sure we're doing the right, procedures and so forth, state-of-the-art, everything. And so they've reviewed it, and everything we're doing is, and again, I've got the scientists from, all these agencies that the state paid for, and EPA, and they have, they make a label up. I mean, you got to follow the label. And if anything goes wrong or there's a problem anywhere, the consultants or anybody, any of these applicators are required to report to EPA that and there is no adverse reports. So everything's, it's, like I say, I think we're all fortunate that we can have a product like this. And no, nobody wants to leave anything in the soil, but I believe, again, I don't want to get too technical, Scott, but we'll work with you to see what we can do.
Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Please identify yourself for the
Jerry
record.
Stefanski, I live on Agua Mill Pond. We've been doing this over a period of 10 years with good results. And I just throw this out here. The state, about 3 or 4 years ago, put in a boat ramp. And I don't think they would have spent the money on a boat ramp if they felt that the pond was not up to a certain amount of standards, but the standards being for the water quality, the weeds, and so forth. So as you're thinking through what you would like from us or from our consultants next year, keep in mind that the state just put in a lot of money on that boat ramp, and they must have put some study and consideration into the quality of the pond to spend our money on it.
Now, that boat ramp does not go directly into the pond. You have to go under 25 to get to the pond, right?
No, technically, that's still the pond.
I know, but you
Yeah.
don't treat that section
No, because of the flow and everything else.
because of the
Right.
herring run and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, part of that, to me, that boat ramp also brought a problem. Who knows what type of material came on the hulls of those boats? There's no place to wash off there or anything like that, so anything that could have been there was brought into your water body, or anything taken out of your water body was taken out and sent someplace else. So that happens with a boat ramp, and there's no way to wash it. There's no wash facility.
Yeah, we
there.
got a sign there. You've seen the sign. It's a $1,000 fine. There's actually a state law that's there, but you're right.
But who's
We
gonna
don't
be
have-
there
No,
to,
trust me,
manage it? Yeah.
You know my position on that way back then. but-
Yes, I'm just,
so.
anything else, Jerry? Mike? Anybody else would like to comment on this? All we've asked for is an update on your plan for this coming summer, and you've sent us the documents, and you're here to answer any questions. My recommendation, as you get ready for May of '27, get to us early. There
Yeah,
will be
for
some
sure.
discussions.
Yeah. I did share some good news with you on the herring run, right? Did you get
Yes,
that information?
yes.
I know most people, that's way too much information, that nobody cares that much about herring, but I figured you guys did. But
Well, I didn't read the whole thing.
no, I can,
I
I'll short,
summarized it that-
the only thing that really matters is that Agawam River, right, there's a counter, they have a electronic counter at the pond that counts the herring. And 2025 was the record year in modern times for count. 150,000 herring came up through that pipe.
Do you
So
have,
that's all good news.
I can't
copied it.
remember the time frame for the state repairing or replacing that herring run with that very plan that they've proposed a couple of years ago? Any idea where that stands?
I was going to
They're
ask
gonna
you the
redo
status,
dam, I
but
think within a couple of years, that's part of
Well-
when they put a new dam in.
it's finally moving, okay?
Okay.
You're talking a $30 million dam job, okay?
Just for fish.
And I dealt with the Mass DOT since the conception to make sure that the pond level would remain the same during construction, which
Yep.
wasn't an easy task, but I got that. So people can still enjoy, boating and fishing and everything else for the 3 years. That project is 3 years long. And they finally took the property they need from the Elks. I think they'll be coming through you, but maybe not. I mean,
Oh, they will
sometimes,
have to. They will have to.
I would think they have to. So I was actually going to ask you if they had
I have not seen anything. Christine, have you come, they haven't come to you about that replacement of that herring run by the Elks?
I haven't heard anything
I mean, it's
about
gonna-
that.
Other than the public hearing we had several years ago.
yeah.
No, the only.
It's
the
going to
only
be a
fish run I
spectacular
know about
looking
the
herring
bridge.
run and dam. I mean, it'd be like a place to visit, you know what I mean? I mean, it's going to be spectacular when they get it
And just
done.
like the improvement for maybe the Parker Mill Dam for herring run, it's another activity that's being looked at. The Tremont Dam
Yeah,
up off of Main Street is being looked at, so there's a lot of activity coming along in our water flow.
yeah, the big dam the bridge that they're doing over there at, heading
Hill
into
Road.
Marion.
Oh, the one in Marion, yes.
$50
Route
million
6.
bridge. Yeah,
Yes.
so serious work. But yeah, that's some good news on the herring, and maybe we're looking forward to keeping going here and staying viable with, financially and everything else. We got a good bunch of volunteers. There's a bunch of them zooming in here tonight, I think, and but they're all interested. They all love to use the pond, and hopefully you guys get a kayak out there once in a while.
Thank you.
I'll take you for a personal tour, as a matter of fact, Scott. That's part of the thing, for the study.
All right, as I said, this was an informational update on the management plan for 2026. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yep.
There was one thing I didn't mention at the start of the meeting. I have confirmation that a osprey nest was taken down for our light poles at Spillane. So just thought I'd, share that. That was one of the things I wanted to mention this afternoon, so that was the last on my list. So please, Michael, our first hearing, please.
All right, now you scared me to get to the North Pole.
I could have used that more strategically for you.
All right. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, General 6, a public hearing will be held in Room 520, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass, on Tax Day, 2026, at 6 p.m. And for the first one, remove the roof of the existing structure and add a full second floor onto existing first floor walls. Everything will remain existing footprint besides adding a new front farmer's porch. Map 120, Lot 36, to Wareham Lake Shores Drive, Wareham, Mass. And notice to open hearing, please.
I have a motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstains. The hearing is open. Is there anybody here representing this project? Please come forward and identify yourself.
Good evening, everybody on the board, Madam Chairman. My name is Curtis Perry. I am the owner of 2 Wareham Lakeshore Drive, and am here to get permission to add the farmer's porch outside of the buffer zone, or inside of the buffer zone.
Okay. Thank you. Questions? Kwame?
Unfortunately, I did not make it to the site, so I have no questions at this time.
Michael?
Okay, first, simple question here. Will the second floor or second story of the house increase runoff into the water surrounding that little peninsula? that basically surrounds the house?
So I believe the gutter system will be the same, water runoff. The roof line will be the same as the existing house now, so I don't see any difference.
Okay,
We're
and,
not trying to go any larger, we're just adding the second floor.
and even as well on the front, it won't increase the water runoff to the front either? right
No,
there?
I don't believe so.
All right, okay, Madam Chair, I'm all set.
Paula Jean?
Yeah, so, hi.
Hi.
I was out there and took a look at the front. You've got it taped to show you the porches on the street side. I walked around the building. What's going on out back?
The sand came from the basement. I recently purchased the house in November, and the basement was filled floor to ceiling with junk. We took 32 tons of steel out of the basement and yard and got rid of in dumpsters. So after it was cleaned, I went and we raised the height of the ceiling, so we dug out some of the sand.
Oh, that's one way to get some headroom.
Yes, so...
I saw the straw wattles around the edge, which
Yes.
was good.
Yep.
But you've got like all kinds of things out there right near the shoreline, and,
So everything has been existing, I'm still cleaning.
yeah.
There was
It's like,
quite...
I'm sure the owner doesn't want me to look at this.
Yeah, it was extensive. It was like hoarders, and it was 40 years of collecting debris and just things.
Unreal.
So we filled as many dumpsters as we could, and then I went for this permit, and we'll finish the cleanup.
Yeah, well, I believe that you've got things within 10, 12, 15 feet of the bank to the pond there, sitting
Okay.
there like the cinder blocks, and
Yeah.
there's sort of an outdoor stove grill apparatus right sitting on it.
Yes.
I do not believe those things are supposed to be there,
Yeah,
close
so
to
we
the
can...
water
Yeah,
at
we
all.
can dismantle that. That's no
Yeah,
problem.
there's a ton of stuff. There was some further down, there's like a little flat area with some benches, and that's all right on the shore.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think any of that is legal.
So
Okay.
your recommendation, is anything on the other side of the wattle, on the water side, get
Within
removed?
30 feet,
Within
right?
30 feet.
With 30 feet, you can't, nothing is allowed there.
Okay, even though it's been there for 30 years? it
We would
doesn't-
recommend that you would remove the items that should never have been there in the first place.
No problem.
Thanks.
One more dumpster load.
Yeah, it's all right, no problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Scott?
It looks like you've used some of that sand. First of all, there's a pile of sand on the other side of the straw wattle. And it looks like you've been using that for what we would call beach
Nourishment?
nourishment.
Sure.
Is that right? You've been putting some of that sand down next to the dock and on that area?
Yeah, and then the neighbors had told me I need permission to do it, so I stopped, and that's kind of why that pile is still left in the back of the house.
Okay, so we're going to have to do or recommend some kind of enforcement to remove that. Well, I don't know how we're going to do it exactly, but you're not allowed to do beach nourishment without permission. You have to use sand that's approved
Okay.
because it has to match the qualities of the sand that's already there and yada, yada.
Sure.
There's a
Yep.
lot to
Okay.
do there. I had some other notes. I've been on a lot of farms. Can you tell me what a farmer's porch is?
So it's just gonna be, I think it's coming out 4.5 feet. It's just gonna be a small, like, deck porch with a covered roof.
Okay,
That's all. There'll be no railings on it because it's right at ground level. So
All
it's
right.
just kind of to break up the wall of the second story. It's not really practical to use. It's so small. It's just to aesthetically please the addition.
okay.
Enough for one rocking chair to watch the sunset.
It might be that big.
Almost,
Almost, yeah, close.
almost wide enough.
Sorry.
So did you, and I looked down where the bulkhead is, and that's where you've been excavating as well, is that correct?
Yeah, that's where the sand came from.
Okay, I guess no further questions at this time.
Jessica,
No questions.
now, what should we do about the sand that's been placed there without permission? How much?
There wasn't much because it was a real lot of work to get down the stairs. So it was probably only 12 5-gallon buckets. So it's,
Then I would say no more.
yeah, that's no problem.
Find someplace to take that sand that you got there and someplace else, but not on the beach.
Sure.
More than likely, it would do more damage to try to pick it up and move it away. Yeah.
And then I did have a question. With the rest of the sand, do I need permission to spread it in the yard and then loom over it after the addition is done? Because that's how I was planning to get rid of it, instead of trucking it out, because there's a lot of unlevel land.
Is that land, I don't know where the 30-foot goes.
How many yards do you think that is?
It's gotta be 15, 20.
20 yards?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's substantial, even spread over, and it's not a very big lawn either.
yeah.
I was gonna say, that's a very small property, it's not a big yard.
I have no problem with that sand being utilized for the yard as a base for a yard.
Just as an aside,
I think there should be a fine for laying the sand to begin with.
I just have a little hint, though.
Hint?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we had extra sand at my daughter's house renovation. We just posted free clean fill, and people came and took it away.
Yeah.
So
But that fill is not close to the road, is it?
I was gonna say, the access to get to it's tough.
you'd have to move it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So, am I hearing anything here? A fine for doing the sand to begin with?
Absolutely.
The nourishment of the beach with improper sand?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna ask that it be removed, just that it don't do it anymore. And find a home, see if you can find a home for the clean fill.
Okay, all right.
What you can't find a home for, I guess you get to use it.
All right, I appreciate that.
I don't,
I wouldn't think any more than a yard or two at the most, though, because then you're going to end up having, well, this is where an engineer would be very helpful, actually, figuring this out. Right?
okay, so,
Well, once the straw wattles are gone, when it rains, in my experience, things run downhill toward the water. And that's where it would end up ultimately.
Well, I think it would be encapsulated in the new loom, and then potentially the grass to hold everything in with the roots.
But before that happens, it just takes one big rainstorm, and
Yeah.
there
So-
it is
so
in the pond.
the wattles are not removed until your lawn is established.
Yeah, that makes sense. No problem.
Christine?
I don't have any questions. You guys have asked everything I was wondering about.
Well, anybody here in the audience would like to comment on this project? John, anybody online?
No one has raised their hand at this time.
Okay,
So then there's a question of how to assess the fine.
Right.
So these are all items that we would not have approved of, I don't think, using the sand that's not matched for the beach.
that's right, we would not have approved it, it would have to have been, yes. So to me, that is a $300 fine for something that was done without approval, that would never have been approved, that would not have been approved.
Right, so there's potentially a number of these things. So beach nourishment, storage of the sand on the other side of the wattles.
The furniture on the beach.
Well,
Furniture
that's
on the
not
beach.
his.
Well, the sand is.
No, but the furniture, we've asked him to remove what the other prior owner, I mean, we had another fine for somebody, $2,100 because of a violation for the previous owner, and we voted not to apply it to the new owner. So this is the same type of thing.
But we've
We're
also,
asking him to clean up what somebody else left.
we've also, though, voted for fines for people
Many times.
before who have,
Can I
taking over
ask you, when
responsibility.
you purchased the property, is it how recent?
November?
so it sounds like two items to me, the beach enrichment and the storage of the sand on the far side of the erosion barriers.
I'd be more inclined to vote for a fine for the furniture, et cetera, if we had an enforcement that was recorded. or if we had something that would provide notice of the violation before purchase, because then you would know what he was taking on.
But that, we haven't been to this property. We've been to the one next to it.
I just
Quite
mean
frequently.
as a buyer of property, that, you know, if there's nothing on the record, or it's very difficult, I think, for somebody to come in and say that they're aware of a problem that is gonna create liability for them.
Yeah, and I
So-
honestly thought it would be grandfathered in because it had been there for so long.
Yeah.
So I had no
think it's
idea.
different to do something that, you know, to buy a property and then take an action that, you know, you're responsible for than it is to inherit something and be presumed to be aware.
So if we just limit it to the actions of the new owner, so the beach enrichment, so-called, and the storage of the sand pile on the wrong side of the erosion barrier, it's two items. It doesn't have anything to do with the furniture then or that kind
Okay.
of stuff.
And the amount of fine for each,
300, that neither one would have been
neither one
approved.
would have been permitted.
That's right.
One other question, I'm just curious. Did you install the wattles? Did you put those
I
down
did,
yourself? So
yes.
that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And really well done, by the way.
thank you. Yeah, I didn't want any issues.
Good.
All right, there is no other comments on this project. Will someone please close the hearing?
Move to close the hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Christine, your recommendation?
-3, -6, with the two $300 fines for the beach nourishment and the storage of the sand on the opposite side of the erosion controls. The objects and debris on the opposite side that's close to the water to be removed. And
And the
for-
sand to be brought over on the non-beach side of the wattle.
and the erosion controls to remain until the
Till-
lawn stabilizes.
Okay,
Okay,
so moved.
I have that motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, and plus, we have a $600 fine for beach nourishment and storing sand on the other side of the erosion control.
All right, thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the board.
Thank you.
All right.
Get your paperwork from Chris before you start any work. Thank you.
We all set?
All set.
Okay. On the request for, okay. On the request for determination of applicability for Anne Marie Periano, 17 Elizabeth Lane, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571, removing a driveway, removing invasive and planting native vegetation, map 27, lot 1006A, 17 Elizabeth Lane, Wareham, Mass. And notice to open hearing, please.
I have that motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. And who's here representing this project?
Anne Marie Prino.
And Robert Prino. I'm not Anne Marie.
Okay, talk to us about what you want to, what you have been doing and what you want to do.
We started a project a couple years ago, 2 years ago, I believe, removing an existing driveway that was in poor condition and really deteriorated. And our contractor did not believe that a permit was needed because it was an existing driveway. So we went ahead with the project, stage 1, stage 2. Now it's stage 3. I believe he approached the Conservation Commission and said, do we need to file a permit, or, you know, and that's why we're here, because we would like to finish our project. So, in good faith, we were, you know, we thought, we listened to him, he said it's not needed, and we,
Yes, it's amazing how many contractors
yeah,
choose not to get the right permit, thinking they may not get caught.
Yeah.
Their homeowners might not get caught.
Yeah.
And so you will be paying some fines for the work that you have done. But I'm just going to say, I've been to Elizabeth Lane for years and years, and Liz, because Betty Hurd and I, Garden Club members, her and my mother were best of friends, so I have been down there frequently, so I
Yeah.
know the area. Sorry, another personal comment.
I just think it's a magical place.
It is. Anything else before we start asking our questions?
You know, the other thing is that we, after the storm, we had a bunch of trees broken that threatened the retaining wall along the driveway, so those were cut. And our plan, we have little flags all over the place right now where we're going to put in some native vegetation and some additional trees to replace all of that. And where anything was stripped out during the driveway work, it was either an invasive vine or poison ivy, to which she's incredibly allergic. So our plan was going to be to do something with that anyway along the way. So that's all cleaned out, but we're going to wind up putting a whole bunch of shrubs and trees in there to replace those things. We will not put a tree on the top of the retaining wall because we have a very significant crack in the retaining wall now.
And you
because
don't want those roots to get into it.
Yeah, what happened was when the trees snapped during the storm, one of the guys that does some landscaping for us went over and was cleaning some things up, and the trees were actually acting as a sail, and the retaining wall was bowing, which is why it cracked. So I don't want that retaining, it's like a 10-foot retaining wall. That would be really bad luck to have that fail. So-
Okay.
So that's pretty much our story. We did contact all the abutters. I have the receipts for the certified mail that we sent. We did send checks to the town hall for Wareham Week and the permit. And I think that's all of the.
Christine, you need that receipt? Yeah, so. Whoop, okay. Kwame, questions?
Hi, did you say that you were working with the engineer, or you're doing this, like, basically,
A contractor.
oh, you have a contractor?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And that's,
He does concrete work.
I
So,
see, I see. And so, do you have anything that you're going, I'm sorry, the species that you're going to use for the plantings yet,
No,
or you
but
don't know yet?
We were told we might be able to get a list of native species for that area
Okay.
that we could refer to.
cedar, scotch pine, bayberry, that kind of stuff, you know.
Excellent, okay, yeah, I figured I
Things
asked
that
that.
won't envelop the world, but it'll protect the ground.
Yeah, so no bamboo or anything like that?
No, we're not going to do.
I did not say bamboo in any of their orange little,
No way.
I looked at every one of them.
We actually labeled all the
Oops,
flags.
sorry.
We're trying to.
Thank you, no other questions?
There's a little happy celebration in our song right there.
Michael?
All right. The plan said rake. I guess that means the type of techniques you're going to use to remove those plants there. Any other techniques you're planning on using, say herbicides or pesticides?
No, we didn't want to do that because it's close to the water.
Okay, so it's just going to be
There were-
hand techniques?
Yeah, I mean, I
like
have
raking and-
photos, if you'd like, on what's been removed along the driveway. And basically, we went in with the bobcat that was there. And it was just all overgrown vines and poison ivy. And they just went through with the bobcat and, hit it down. So there's smooth dirt there now, and we don't need to use any herbicides. I'm not particularly fond of herbicides myself anyway, so.
But we plan to replace it with grass. We're not putting
Yeah, the other
concrete.
part is we'll finish off grass further down on where the driveway. Have you seen any of the photos?
Yeah, I saw that. So basically, the driveway's going to continue then, and then just basically, or is that driveway?
The driveway's-
like
the driveway's
the partial
done.
driveway is going to be, is the partial driveway going to be like ripped up then as well? Or is that going to,
There's
remain the
some
same?
additional asphalt beyond, if you look where the garage door is underneath. We're not going to take out the asphalt going into the garage, even though we don't use it. But there's some asphalt that continues down to the flat.
All right.
We're going to take out that asphalt and put sod in there to continue it. And the only
Gotcha.
driveway that's going to be there is those two cement strips that go into the upper,
To the door.
there's a couple of cement strips that are the driveway now. So we have the cement, and then the cement ribbons, and then the sod in between everything.
Sure.
And then on the side of that, we're gonna put the plantings. Okay?
Correct, over there.
And there's not gonna be any more driveway that we're gonna do, because we're gonna put sod all the way down to the flat.
Gotcha, okay.
And we think that'll actually be pretty good for protection and, not washing it, because we've gotta put sod down there anyway, because we don't want it to wash away. So.
Right, okay. No more questions.
Paula Jean?
Yep, so I went over there and I saw all the labels on the flags. It was nice to see everything you're gonna plant there. I'm just curious, it's down by the yellow kayak, that last part is the last part to be removed, right? It's kind of half-dead asphalt.
It's-
Get rid of it, great.
Yeah,
And I assume the sod you're putting in is a low-maintenance, kind of a native grass, something that doesn't need a lot of nitrogen or fertilizer, because it's proximity to the water, right?
yeah. Well, actually, you came over and you said use low-release nitrogen, slow-release
Yeah,
nitrogen.
something that
We
is,
haven't used any
yep,
fertilizer yet.
that's good.
Yeah, we haven't put any fertilizer down yet anyway.
Yeah.
It still seems to be surviving, so.
It looks good. And I think you've got one more cedar underneath all that bittersweet that you can salvage. It's still got
We're
some life in it.
trying.
Once you get the bittersweet off it, I think it'll live.
Yeah.
We're
So
trying.
it should be very nice.
We couldn't get at it before because there was too much poison ivy,
Yeah, I bet.
so.
Well, thank you.
Anything else? Scott?
So we talked earlier today when I was out at your place, and thank you for the thorough tour of the project. You might want to contact the previous hearing person about how to put a straw wattle in. I mean,
Yeah.
really a very good job. So, we don't often hear people wanting to take an impervious surface out and replacing it with a pervious surface. We're usually fighting the other way around. So this is really very good as far as I can see anyway. I don't want to speak for anybody else. Just that you'll need to have a good plan for erosion control. And then, Christine, maybe you could note about if there's any use of fertilizer, be slow-release nitrogen fertilizer in the order of conditions. That's all I have.
Jessica?
No additional questions.
So there had been a paved driveway in the back of the building coming all the way up to the side to Elizabeth Lane. And
Yes.
you've taken this in 3 steps. One step, you replaced it with a whole bunch of grass. Another step, you put in driveway things, what do you want to call them?
Ribbons.
Ribbons.
Tasteful cement ribbons.
So that's
Right.
2 things that have been done, and you're now removing what is left of the hard top down toward the corner where you have dirt driveway, okay. Then you have, you cleared off all the invasives on the side of this driveway, and you are planting material. I'm sure Christine can give you a list of good material. I was surprised to find no old rhododendrons, no andromedas, no, mountain laurel, more of that type of material as opposed to trees. But that's it, so, but,
We're open to.
We get a
other
lot of
things.
roadies up at our house in Westwood, so,
You know
they're
what-
great, yeah,
but the old ones are just,
yeah.
as opposed to the new ones with a bright color or anything like that. It's nice to see the old ones. So what is being removed will be placed with sod. We're going to ask that you have slow-release nitrogen to better reduce the amount of slow-release fertilizer because we don't want nitrogen going down. You'll be asked to be put in erosion control to keep everything, because it will flow down toward the water's edge because it is sloped.
For the erosion control, is that the straw that you were talking about?
Yeah,
To remain there, or just while we're doing the work?
well, this would be up to the agent maybe, but it's to control, so this, when you take the driveway off, it's going to be exposed if it rains or whatever, that would all run down into the bay, and we don't want that.
Right.
So probably until the sod
Sod
is
is-
established.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
Well, plan would be to get rid of the asphalt, get some loam in right away, and then put the sod down, which is what we did on the top
Yeah.
part of it. That all happened probably within a 3-week period, in fact.
and we find that a wattle is a better material for this as opposed to hay bales.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not familiar with wattle, so I heard you talking about that
It's-
earlier, but,
They're round things
okay.
that will be placed around the edge of the
Oh, all right,
edge of the
fine.
project, and then they'd be staked there so they won't roll away.
Yeah.
All right, I'll Google it.
Easily handled, easily removed once the
Okay.
sod is established.
Great.
Christine, any comments?
No, no comments.
Is there anybody? Okay, fines. We probably would have permitted the removal of it in 2 different stages. You want to do it 2 different stages, $200 apiece, because we would have approved it? Anybody?
Yeah, that's fine.
Why would we do 2 stages?
Because they did it at 2 separate times.
But if we would have approved the whole thing,
If they had come to us for the whole thing, I don't have a problem. You want one $200 fine for removing and replacing the driveway?
I think so.
Okay. Anybody online or in the audience would like to speak to this project?
No one has their hand raised at this time.
Move to close the hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendations.
-3, -6, with slow-release nitrogen to be used for erosion controls to be used until the grass is established. The fine for $200 for removing and replacing the driveway, and just hand methods only for the removal of the invasives.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Thank you. You have it. I'll get your paperwork from Christine before you complete the project.
Thank you very
And
much.
thank you for taking care of that very beautiful piece of property.
Thank you.
It has become our hobby for the last 6 years.
And you're surrounded by herds. Sorry, every house down there is owned by a herd. All right. I'm sorry. Boy, have I gone personal today. I apologize. Next, please.
All right. A request for a notice of intent for Andrea Zarabek, 208 South Great Neck Road, Lincoln, Massachusetts. The purpose of ecological restoration on the site is to undo past ecological modifications and restore the wetland complex that once occupied this site by addressing the legacy impacts of farming that limit natural recovery and by initiating the rejuvenation of a healthy wetland system. The project will also improve opportunities for the site to accommodate future inland native salt marsh migration via the migration of the existing downstream salt marsh along the path of the existing tidal creek. Note that tidal flow is currently restricted by an agricultural berm and water control structure, as well as the approximately 4-acre stand of Phragmites I can't pronounce it. Australis, thank you. You must have said something different there, Scott. All right, so it's map 57, lot 1004, 820 Shady Lane in Wareham, Mass. And notice to open hearing, please.
I have the motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. The hearing is open. Hi. Who's here slowly representing the project so our minute taker can get it all right?
Hi, I'm Andrea Jarabek, restoration ecologist at Mass Audubon.
Spell your last name, please.
Jerab.
Oh, yeah, the name
Okay.
on the hearing.
It's on the
Duh.
sheets. I was thinking, right, that's how to spell, it's right there. My
Okay,
apologies
sorry.
for probably mispronouncing it there.
Hello, I'm Michael Soares, a wetland scientist with Fussin O'Neill. Last name Soares.
Julianne Busa, ecologist and professional wetland scientist with Fussin O'Neill, B as in boy, USA.
And Sarah Quintal, Senior Restoration Ecologist, Buzzards Bay Coalition.
Okay. All right. Who wants to start? Andrea. Okay, talk to us.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you all again. You saw Sarah and I in the fall for the invasive management order of conditions at 0 Shady Lane. And we're here today to talk about the ecological restoration for Marks Cove. So to zoom out just for a moment before I pass it over to my colleagues, this is a pilot project for our Making Space Award, a NOAA award to Mass Audubon and partners. And It's right in the name. This grant award and project is focused on restoring abandoned and retired cranberry farmland to make space for future salt marsh migration. Our salt marshes face a lot of threats in Massachusetts, and by restoring these coastal cranberry farmlands, we give them a space to migrate to in the future, to promote resiliency and adapt to changing tides. We're very excited about this project, and another key aspect is the partnership. So we have a lot of amazing partners, of course, Buzzards Bay Coalition, Fuss and O'Neill. We're working with the Cranberry Growers Association, Native Land Conservancy, Town of Falmouth for our other pilot site, and of course the other conservation landholders within Marks Cove, so Wareham Land Trust, Wildlands Trust. We have a really lucky to work with a lot of great folks in this space for the grant. So we're excited to tell you more about it. We have a presentation, and I'll just say one more thing before I pass it over. We've started the invasive management work at Marks Cove, and that has been a really important first step for promoting the recovery of the wetland. So it's really opened up the space. We've been treating the gray willow, and we'll continue to do that as the first step in the restoration process. So thank you. Sarah?
Sure. So Buzzards Bay Coalition is the landowner for the former Cranberry Bog. So the site that we are going to be discussing tonight, the work largely is all on that Buzzards Bay Coalition land that was previously farmed up until about 2000. We acquired the property in about 2015. So over the course of time, the site has not had the best ecological condition. It was starting to get very overtaken with invasives, and the site was clearly showing that it was not going to be all healthy wetlands on its own just by leaving it alone. So we feel really fortunate that we had the opportunity to work with Mass Audubon to get this NOAA-funded grant in order to give a proper restoration project to this site and really restore its wetlands resources, as well as give that opportunity for marsh migration long-term, which is something that is in short supply. So we're really happy that Marks Cove does have this opportunity for additional marsh to have a place to go in the future. Fuss and O'Neill is the design team that we are working with. They have done other cranberry bog restoration design work as well, including most recently their completed windswept bog project in Nantucket, which also included a lot of coastal adaptation elements. So we're excited to be working with them on, and I'm going to turn it over to Michael and Julie to present the details.
Can someone take one of the lights down, please? You'll have to turn on behind the door. Nope. That door, that's it. Other one.
It always is.
Thank you. I knew it was one or the other.
You'd think that would be 50-50, but it never is.
Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about this project. This is, for us, a project that we've invested a lot of time and effort and interest and enthusiasm in. Thinking about the projects that you look at as a Conservation Commission, this is, I would say, kind of a big project. So we have a number of slides here to kind of talk through the site, its conditions, and what we're proposing for its restoration. This is an ecological restoration notice of intent. We have a significant amount of wetland restoration here. But as you can see in the topo map off to the right, this is very much near Marks Cove, and this is how this project was sort of recognized by the Making Space project under NOAA to be a place for potential marsh migration. So our ecological restoration notice of intent is about tidal restoration over time into this place to facilitate marsh migration. Next slide, please. So just to zoom out a little bit, to give you a sense of its place in Wareham and in the context of Marks Cove Conservation Area, our project area are the two blue outlined areas in the aerial on the right, but all of the areas outlined in green are the partner open space conservations around the project that make up the Marks Cove Conservation Area. So we have Wareham Land Trust, Mass Audubon, Wildlands Trust, BBC, and the town itself also has parcels in here. There's an extensive trail network in here. It's really quite a great place, and the idea is to facilitate a better natural system in the Cranberry Bog system, and also maintain and enhance the public access in this area. Next slide. Just to give you a quick sense, I'm sorry it's so small, I would have made it bigger. The pictures on the left are just to try to give you a sense of the existing natural resource areas that we have at the site. So I'll kind of go through the pictures from the top left down to the bottom right. There's some wooded swamp farther south outside of the cranberry bogs, but kind of on the edge of some of the area in the lower Tidal Creek. Number 2 is the salt marsh, which is, oh, thank you, Julie. Salt marsh is down below. Number 3, we have some freshwater marsh already within the system that have kind of developed. We've actually identified those as some areas that will have less intervention on the restoration because they've sort of restored themselves already. We do have a number of ponds. We have what we call West Pond and also East Pond. And then we have Phragmites. And so the yellow area down below is about a 4-acre stand of Phragmites. And the reason that's part of the project, the reason we've identified it, is within the Phragmites, we can tell that the tidal channel is not really flowing and communicating up gradient, upstream of that Phragmites. Phragmites has a tendency to get very thick and choke it out. And so we're looking for how we can open up that area in some very discrete ways to allow the tidal influence to be more active up into the cranberry site once the main berm is taken out. Next slide. So just very quick, you might have come across this already, but we just want to cover some of the legacy impacts of cranberry bogs and why we do the restoration. In these pictures, you can kind of see the land simplification that's been going on for decades. And just to back up, with all respect to cranberry farming and farmers in general, this is not about not being supportive of cranberry farming, but when a farm is taken out of production, it needs to be segued into a new life. And so that's what the restoration is here. I think, I eat cranberries, I love cranberries, but when the land is no longer being cultivated, just like a farm field on an upland, there needs to be some intervention to kind of send it in the right natural direction. So and you can go to the next slide, please. The ditches, are a plumbing on the system that create an artificial hydrology. We have a monoculture of vegetation. The bracket where my hand is in the left photo is a sanded surface that is a constructed soil that leads to a drier soil over time and more dry upland species as opposed to the wetlands that they used to be. So we have a number of conditions at cranberry bogs that lead to a number of impacts. We have, loss of really proper functioning wetlands. We have altered hydrology, a loss of physical diversity, a loss of biodiversity, and then water quality concerns. But we have legacy pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, and so trying to create a system that can properly metabolize those and put it on a healthier track. Next slide, please. So specific to the Marks Cove, this is our main project area. It's approximately 15 acres. We have 4 bog cells. One pond, West Pond, is within the limit of work. The other pond, we have just sort of some of the shoreline and some of the water where no work is going to be done in East Pond. But some of the legacy impacts, we have invasive species of some woodies, Phragmites, throughout the site. As Andrea said earlier, that is through this NOI is being currently addressed as part of the restoration process. We have earthen berms and those yellow dotted lines that segment the former wetland into these different cells, which is effective for water control, but not good for a restored wetland system. We have ditches, we have culverts. The yellow circle on the picture on the right is the irrigation system. So a lot of alterations to the hydrology, which degrade or continue to hinder the wetland development. Next slide. So this is from our plan set, just showing existing conditions. So just kind of noting the pink areas are the bogs. The blue, of course, are the ponds. We do have a utility right-of-way that cuts through. That's sort of the diagonal hatching line that goes through the site. For this project area, it is that yellow line going around these existing conditions. Next slide. I believe this is our other project area, which is the Phragmites stand. It's kind of that hatched area down in the, could we go back one?
I
think we're going forward.
Oh my gosh. I'm like trying to click on the back and it's just not going.
We're all giving away all the surprises at the end. Well, I can talk. So the second project area is that Phragmites stand. This main area, there's more typical restoration activity where we're talking about earthwork, removing berms, roughening the surface using an excavator. You can go to the next slide. The Phragmites area is really only going to be some very localized handwork. We're going to look into the Phragmite area, look into this marsh, try to find what relic structures. It seems like there were some structures in there that were part of the impoundment for the cranberry farm. So we're going to try to find those structures and address them by hand, so just using hand tools. So this project right now is really, we'd like to get that permitted, but our main focus is the earthwork in the former cranberry bog. That will be the lion's share of the work for the project. Next slide. So this is what we're proposing. We have, if you could go forward once, click. So those outlines kind of represent the wetland restoration as part of the project. The green dashed line around the bulk of the site, thanks, Julie, that is our wetland restoration area. And then the darker dashed line on the north side is an upland restoration. That is a cranberry bog today. It was cut out of uplands. We're not finding any wetland soils underneath that. We have a lot of pitch pine in there, so it's kind of trending upward. And so our goal is to kind of return that to the natural system it used to be before the cranberry bog was created out of the upland there. One more click, please, or next. Yeah, so just trying to focus on some of the access amenities or parts of this project. There will be a few boardwalks. We're going to be really connecting bog cells throughout the system so that all the wetlands are connected, but we want to maintain the trail network. So we have 3 boardwalks proposed, 4 actually, in the boxes that Julie are pointing to, and then the bigger one down at the south end where there's a berm coming out, and then a new trail, which is kind of in that longer box on the east side. There'll be a new trail coming through that upland meadow. Right. And then one more, we'll just kind of show, these are in our details in the plan set, just trying to help conceptualize what it will look like when berms are removed and when the surface, which is pretty level now, is roughened to create some habitat diversity, some micro-topography. The lumpiness there is really just conceptual. It's not meant to be as dramatic as that. Next slide. So I think I already kind of spoke to this, is that it's hard to see in that image, but you really can't see a tidal creek going up to the northeast through that Phragmites. It pretty much disappears about a third of the way in. And so, as I said, our goal is to go in and to try to address that and allow that tidal influence to reach as far as it can naturally. Next slide. One more? Maybe one more? Oh, okay. So the blue is just to try to show where salt marsh is today. You know, we have low marsh and high marsh that we're all familiar with. But as we get into the projected sea level rise and projected marsh migration areas that are needed to support marsh migration, that's where the purple bracket is kind of representing where high marsh and freshwater wetlands that are adjacent to salt marsh over the next several decades are going to be transitioning into those marsh areas. So this project is really it's called Making Space, and it's really the idea that over time we need these buffer areas to be created and facilitated to support that sort of resilience and absorb that transition. Next slide. This is from Coastal Zone Management's projections for the year 2100. So again, just trying to show, you know, there is some data out there that as sea level rises, that salt marshes will want to move up gradient. So this is showing the main cranberry bog area and where projected wetlands can be converting to salt marsh, and even where some upland areas adjacent to those could also be converting to salt marsh. Next slide. If you haven't been to a cranberry bog that's been through restoration, it's pretty exciting. This is a very short sequence, of course, before, during, and after. You can't see the timestamps on this, but I'd say the whole course of time over this is about 7 months. So it goes from the monoculture of the cranberry bog. pretty extensive earthwork across this site in Nantucket, and that what's left in the bottom is a entirely different vegetative community with a deeper marsh habitat in the middle that we created. So it's also not planted. All the seed bank is within those soils, and so that full 100% coverage of vegetation is really from the native seed bank that, once it's released, can fully vegetate. Next slide. So just summarizing our impacts. I apologize, it's a little small. It's just trying to show, we do have salt marsh. There'll be no changes to the salt marsh. We have land subject to coastal storm flowage, also no changes. We have some loss of inland bank because we're converting a pond into wetlands, and so there will be no more bank associated with that pond. We are really increasing our bordering vegetated wetland. We kind of split out cranberry bog from the BVW, even though they're considered wetland under the regs. They're really a different kind of wetland. It's a monoculture. It's highly altered, and so we just try to split it out to kind of show that the cranberry bogs will no longer exist, but all of that is being converted into new habitat, either wetland, and a small part of it will be that upland meadow. The land underwater will be decreasing because there will be about an acre and I would say closer to an acre of shallow and deep marsh created out of one of the pond areas. And then our riverfront area will not change. Next slide. Just some before and afters. Again, you can see this is about 7 months later in one of our bogs in Nantucket. This is microtopography, just trying to create some hummock and hollow, pit and mound kind of physical diversity, which lends itself to better habitat diversity. Next slide. This was on the top left is a pretty straight ditch. It's a little hard to see, but on the bottom, what we basically did is had them create a diffuse flow path out of that ditch. So it was a very channelized, incised ditch, and now is kind of a branching system, broad and shallow, that moves through a wetland and conveys water, but conveys it very slowly. Slows down the water, keeps it in the system. This is just a little bit about our philosophy. Julie and I really are the restoration practice at Fuss & O'Neill, and we're not about engineering a design. We're really about figuring out the ecological processes, the natural processes that we can start and promote so that those processes heal the system themselves. Next slide. And we can sort of scroll through these a little bit at a time. These are just some renderings that we had done through a community workshop here in town. We spent about 3 days on site with folks, walking the site, spent some time designing, hearing people's thoughts, and then developed a presentation on the third day with some of these renderings, really trying to show, these are early renderings, so things are a little bit different, but just to try to give you a sense of the transition of the site, which is right now kind of covered in pitch pine, and the goal is to really open things up, have more of a marsh system. And I think with this, you kind of will see the water moving its way up as if we had a large tidal event. You can see on the right the kind of the water getting into the system. And that's the idea. We have very, very gentle grades, and the idea is to allow the water to move up into the system and allow it to move back out again. So we recognize we're taking on two challenges. We're designing for a freshwater marsh today, but also trying to set it up for a salt marsh, 30, 40 years from now too. So it's a fun challenge. It's been a great team to work with. We had a really positive experience with the community, discussing their ideas, their concerns, their questions. There might be other, that was it. So yeah, that might have been a bit of a whirlwind. I appreciate the time just so we could kind of explain the different elements of the project, and happy to hear your questions.
Didn't you do something in what, Mattapoisett?
Yes, yep,
So,
right.
That's the same type of thing you took and you cleared out the land and the plants came back on their own.
Very
that was-
similar prescriptions.
I hear that and I'm amazed that there's still seeds in there that can pop up once you give them some air.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Questions? I'm going to start with Kwame.
Oh, well, thank you.
Because if I start with Jessica, she'll say, get back to me.
Thank you for the information. So there's gonna be a lot of machinery, obviously, to make these waterways where you need them, right? And where is all this stuff gonna be, like, how are you gonna get those in place? Is there, like, you're gonna have to make your own paths and roadways and all the other good stuff? I mean, kind of like,
Fortunately, most construction sites have a lot of equipment traffic entering and exiting a site,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Fortunately for these projects, they spend, one trip bringing their equipment in. We have a staging area set up kind of not far off of the Nicholas Drive entrance to the site. Once they're there, they kind of stay there and don't have to travel out a lot. So it is kind of it's a residential, narrow street to get things in. We do have the widths there to get all the equipment in, and then it would be staged on site. And then you're right, there will be a couple excavators and, probably a large dump truck there to move material around.
And once they're in the site, there's the existing farm roads that are there that you can use to move around much of the site, but there will be places that they'll probably use mats to get out onto. The companies that do this kind of work are very experienced and know how to work in wet conditions, in soft conditions, and so where necessary, they'll use mats to support their equipment so that you don't have issues with sinking into
that's what I was thinking too. It's like, sinking issue, but thank you for the information.
Michael?
Well, they kind of already answered my question, really. So a lot of tractors or like a trucks or whatever, or forks or whatever is going to be using this project here. So again, kind of like what I asked the previous applicants up here. So again, no pesticides or anything like that, or no long spraying for example, no spraying for hundreds and hundreds of yards or anything like that. Nothing like that.
No. Yeah,
All
no, this is really about, it's really about like construction equipment that undoes the cranberry construction, right? So we're kind of reverse constructing the cranberry bog,
So you're basically just digging it up then, and that's that.
Yeah, kind of digging it up, mixing it in place. The berms that separate the bog cells now that material will be taken off and put elsewhere. A lot of trees have really grown up in a lot of the bogs. That's part of because the soils are so dry, because they're these constructed soils. So those trees will be taken down, they'll be processed, kept on site. So everything stays on site. It's just sort of, it's utilizing everything in place to repurpose, and then finding out where we've done a lot of test pits just with a hand auger. We did about 36 test pits to figure out where the wetland soils are underneath. And so that's driving our design a bit is, where's the water depth? Where does that peaty, mucky soil exist? And so how can we bring those systems back with the water and the earthwork?
Gotcha. Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Paula Jean?
It sounds fabulous. What you're doing, it must be great to get up and go to work, and you're doing something so good in the long haul, and it's fun to be out in the mud. I like that I didn't hear anything about herbicides, and you talked about handwork when you referred to the Phragmites, because for the record, I don't think, no matter how much handwork is required, it does not, the trade-off using glyphosate and endangering health and enriching the pharmaceutical industry is not worth it. So kudos to you if you're not using any. Thank you.
Scott?
Are there any major changes to the plans since the walkthrough that we did?
To the
walkthrough?
Any changes to the plans?
Yeah, major changes. I can't remember if it was really hot or really cold that day, because we've done so many walkthroughs, I can't remember.
We've fine-tuned a lot. So some of the unknowns at that time really came down to how much of the site we were going to prepare really for that salt marsh migration, and kind of how we shaped it, and how much of a blend of preparing for salt marsh now versus really focusing on maintaining more of a bumpy topography that is more characteristic of a freshwater wetland. And so we spent a lot of time talking about that and thinking through, especially as we saw the invasive gray willow come down over the past month or so, has actually, we've spent time out there really looking at what native vegetation are we left with that is in decent condition, and what are the areas that we feel really warrant the lightest touch? And so there are several areas on the property, really in the central part of the property in particular, that, as we unfold these layers of the onion that is removing the invasives, really present areas that are quite nice the way they are. And so we will be kind of sort of cordoning off those areas and doing a lighter touch there, and focusing more so on, filling the perimeter ditches and removing the excess drainage of water that is currently kind of bleeding the site drier because of that agricultural infrastructure that's there. So removing the piping, removing all of those extraneous ditches, and not necessarily filling every ditch. There's actually a lot of nice chunks of ditches that if we just plug some of the ends of them and kind of reshape them a little bit, they can continue to function with some nice habitat. And then, the rest of it, the upper parts in particular that are just so dry, we haven't really changed our designs at all on the upper part, where we were really confident that, this upper bog cell really does seem to have been constructed out of upland, and it's, no matter what we did to it, it really wouldn't have a significant wetland resource to it if we tried to give it the same treatment as the middle of the site. So that is where we are preparing it more in terms of more of an upland meadow that transitions into the wetlands, so that over time, as the site gets wetter, decades out, it's already prepared for that migration on its own.
So that west pond is going away.
Not in its entirety.
Okay.
I would say that's probably one of the refinements that's come out of the past several months is we can tell we don't have enough material to completely fill that pond. And so the part of that pond will still exist, and the other part of it will be converted into a shallow and deep marsh complex. It's a little hard to estimate the volume of the wood material that's going in there, so I think we're going to be maybe a third or a half of that pond will be converted to the wetlands, but the northwestern part of the pond will likely still remain.
Okay, yeah, my understanding was that the pond would be removed mostly by taking away some of the berm on its southern border. Is that right?
Yeah, that's definitely a connection we want to make. But the pond it's impressively deep, and so I think the material that we've done our estimates on what we're excavating and where it's going, and we can tell that we don't have enough to fill that pond, and so it's perfectly good to kind of have a pond system that then kind of transitions into a marsh complex next to it, and then to where that berm is extending to that wetland as well.
My last question is, zooming back out, do you have follow-up information on diversity indexes for other projects you've done? So you talked about increasing diversity, species diversity, I would assume both flora and fauna. I'd be most interested in the microbes, but no one ever wants to calculate those. So I don't remember the diversity, there's like the Sherman Index and all these other things. Can you give us kind of a rough idea of what the diversity index would be like before a project and then after a project is, I would say, mature? Just a rough idea.
Yeah, so first off, I would anticipate that the microbe activity is going to go way up when you restore healthy wetlands, because wetlands are rich with microbes. But some of the interesting work that has been done, for instance, there's been some studies on dragonflies before and after. And we've witnessed this, although it hasn't been quantified, but we've witnessed this at the Windswept project on Nantucket, where, before construction, we were seeing, scattered dragonflies here and there. Last summer, when we were doing our post-construction monitoring, we were seeing at least probably a dozen new kinds that we hadn't seen before, and dragonflies were everywhere. So almost immediately you see that kind of activity. They've been tracking an increase in bird activity at that project. And that project is really interesting because they have a full science staff, and so they're doing really robust vegetation monitoring and tracking all of the things that they're seeing come up. And so I don't have all the numbers in my head, but across all of those different types of fauna and flora that they've been looking at, you see a dramatic increase in diversity, even just the first season after. And that will continue to sort of evolve and mature as the system kind of finds its stable equilibrium.
There is a researcher doing work on vegetation transects. I think he might be working on every bog that's being done in Massachusetts. He's connected with the Division of Ecological Restoration and Living Observatory. And my understanding is that he is just creating his own research project on having vegetative transects before restoration and after. And I haven't seen him recently, but my sense is that the trends at all the sites are leading to more diversity and abundance in wetland species in that research.
All right, thank you.
And so I can add to that a little bit. So regarding the dragonflies, most recently on the Colt Brook project, that on the Cape, where actually that one has a lot of similarities to this site as well, because it's former cranberry bog that transitioned down to salt marsh. That one actually already had salt marsh in the lowermost bog cell, but there happens to be a renowned damselfly expert who happened to live in the neighborhood who was really interested in Odonata, and so he did pre and post restoration studies and did track some very, very nice increases in number of species of odonates at that site. And regarding vegetation, so at Mattapoisett, at most of these bog sites, the fauna aren't often tracked. The Cold Brook one is a really great example of where it was, but typically vegetation always is pre and post. So for example, at Mattapoisett Bogs, Chris Neal from Woodwell Research Climate Center, so he's the one who I work with to do the pre and post construction monitoring. And at Mattapoisett, we were able to see a really dramatic rebound in vegetation from that native seed bank within 3 months. We finished the grading of the site. And one thing I do want to stress to everybody is just to be realistic about expectations during construction. It is ugly. It is muddy. It looks like a bomb went off while we're grading it. But the vegetation, that seed bank that has been buried underneath all that sand, really does rebound tremendously well. And within the first year, we had, I believe it was trending towards 60% vegetation coverage within our Mattapoisett Bogs restored surface areas. And within 2 years, we had 75% vegetation coverage. And again, that's without putting down any seed. That's that buried seed bank. And that's the similar trends that we've been seeing on all of these cranberry bog restoration sites in which the Massachusetts Division of Ecological Restoration's cranberry bog program, of which Alex Hackman from Mass Audubon is the former director of that program at DER. Between the work that Buzzards Bay Coalition has done at our sites, the work that Alex Hackman has done with his time with DER and now at Mass Audubon, and the expertise of our engineering team, we're taking all of these lessons learned and trying to apply it to these cranberry bog restorations, as well as now the next challenge is how do we further take that to another level and focus on that coastal adaptation piece in these coastal cranberry bogs. And this is a really, really great opportunity to be able to incorporate all of those elements onto one site.
So my last question is, what is the timeline for the project to actually begin, to get the equipment out there and the digging and all that?
Our hope is this winter, I imagine, yeah.
It's dependent on receipt of permits. The Army Corps permit is usually one of the slower ones, but our hope is to have everything in hand to be ready to go by late fall, early winter.
26, 27?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. I think that's my last question.
And Madam Chair, if you don't mind.
Wait, Jessica next.
All right.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this type of work. I think my question's really about coordination with the other abutting stakeholders, and how do you collaborate in a way where your goals and objectives are furthered and everyone is sort of cooperating and not working against each other? Is there other work contemplated or planned on these other parcels that kind of really make up this sensitive area surrounding you?
You mean the conservation pieces?
Yeah, I mean, like the land trust, I see Audubon and Buzzards Bay
Yeah.
Coalition, I see Gleason Family Wildlife Preserve with a lot of land kind of surrounding this area where you're doing work. Are they cooperating? Are they part of the dialogue? How is that working?
you want to take that one?
Yeah, I do. So certainly like Wildlands Trust and Wareham Land Trust, they join our project meetings and they're busy.
Wonderful.
So they're part of the project team, and we also use tools like project summary documents. So even if somebody can't make a meeting, we send them a monthly update just to make sure they're informed. If they have any questions, they can reach out to all of us. But I think really everybody's interested in working in this restoration space. And so that's a big part of this grant initiative is how do we collaborate and learn so we can scale up this work together. So it's been really lovely working with these folks. Hasn't been a problem.
I think they wanted to be here tonight. I know the representative from Wildlands couldn't be here. Wareham Land Trust has been at our meetings from the beginning, so they're actively part of the decision process and the design discussion.
One of the main takeaways that we got from meeting with the various landowners during our 3-day workshop series, but also working with our other partners, is that the trails out here are so important. And if this was just a restoration project, we'd want to remove all the berms and we wouldn't be worrying about how to install and the expense of installing boardwalks. But because trails are so important, not just to this one site, but to the connectivity with all of the adjacent abutting parcels, this site really is the front door from the Nicholas Drive neighborhood, but it enables the connectivity of all of the parcels that spin off into the various neighborhoods. So making sure we're maintaining boardwalks through the restored site really was the most critical element that the majority of the partners wanted to make sure was kept. And so that's where we spent a lot of our focus and coordination. And we certainly did ask our other partners on adjoining parcels, are there other improvements that need to be done on these other parcels? And everyone, for the most part, seems pretty happy with the current trail configuration. The only other addition that we have been considering and would like to see happen is adding another trailhead at the Camardo Drive inlet. It's a Wildlands Trust property that's just west of the Buzzards Bay Coalition parcel. And so I don't yet know what the timeline for constructing that is, but they're envisioning a super small, maybe a 4-car trailhead at their Camardo Drive property that would then also provide another access point. One of the things that was talked about early on in the workshops was, could we put in a parking area? Because, hey, this is probably going to be a pretty interesting place for people to go. And it's something that we did explore and we wanted to incorporate. However, there is a wetlands reserve easement from the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service on this property. And because that wetlands reserve easement, it has been on the site already for quite a while, they had a very strong stance early on that they did not want any more parking areas on their WRE lands. So on NRCS held easements, they're really trying to back away from having parking areas on those segments. And so that was not something that we were able to accommodate on this site because of that easement. However, the Wildlands Trust property that is connected to the site via the trails on their property to the west and via the utility line that then comes right into our property. That is a location that is a very short distance away where another trailhead parking area could be constructed. And Wildlands has discussed it with their stewardship staff, and they're very receptive to that. So that is another step that we see happening, but doesn't require being part of this particular project as it pertains largely to the BBC parcel.
Is there any maintenance that goes along with the utility easement that runs kind of right through? Are we concerned at all about are those utilities above ground or below, or?
They're all above ground, and they have been running through very, very wetlands. So it's not as though that utility easement is one big berm road. It's actually not the case at all. A lot of it runs through some very, very wet stretches where they're never going to put a truck through there. So the utility company does routinely come through, and on the parts that they're able to access, they take down any trees that seem to be infringing on the poles or that could compromise their utilities. But that's the extent that we see.
Okay.
The land is owned by BBC?
Yes.
Who has the CR?
Natural Resource Conservation Service, USDA.
Okay. Question for you. With the boring, how much sand is on these bogs, and will you be removing that sand in order to make it a wetter as opposed to dry, because sand filters all the water?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that not what normally does when you're restoring a cranberry bog? You find a way of getting rid of all the sand that has been placed there to grow the vines?
That is a technique. I think we've gone, well, the technique here will be mixing, and through our past projects and other recent projects, it has been determined that you can, rather than having to excavate all that sand, which is costly, and then you have to put it somewhere, that you can also mix those layers. So you can use the excavator to kind of mix that, and then the goal ultimately is, can you get that new soil surface and the water table close enough to each other so that you have a wetland hydrology for that new surface? So the sand can be mixed and incorporated in with the underlying buried wetland soils, and so we can still release that dormant seed bank, but we don't have to spend the money and the time and find a location for thousands of cubic yards of material.
As opposed to putting in the pond, never mind.
If I could just add to that, Chair, the other piece that's important here, because we're preparing for marsh migration, we don't want to lose elevation, because we need that elevation for the marsh to gradually creep up. So that was one of the reasons why we decided against removing sand in this particular case.
During boring, how much sand are on top of these bogs? 2 feet? 18 inches, 12 inches? So it's something that could be easily mixed with the peat and stuff underneath it, as opposed to being so dominant that you can't get them. Okay, let's see. What else was there? So the neighbors are well aware that some of their trails will be disrupted for a while?
We've been keeping our
'Cause
abutters
they
informed.
do like that walk.
They sure do, and every time we're out there, they've been seeing a lot of our faces out there, so we do have those conversations with folks, and it will be a disruption during construction, without a doubt. We will do our best to help them find other favorite trails in the interim, but our goal is to keep, ideally, if it's a winter construction period, all the better, because then hopefully there'll be less people who will want to be walking out in the cold.
The Phragmites, 4 acres of the suckers? You're going to do it by hand?
Well, let me clarify, the goal is not to remove all the Phragmites.
Just to clear your creek,
Yeah, the goal is to
clear the waterway.
Clear that waterway, and that's also, Wildlands property and Mass Audubon are still figuring out exactly how they want to treat that, but part of it could also be the restoration of saline waters that help to start to suppress the Phragmites. So what we're getting permitted is really just finding these areas that the channel is clogged and trying to get the water to move.
So it would be removing the Phragmites, right? Cutting them?
Yes.
Will you be hand treating them with pesticides on the roots?
So that is currently still in discussion. So in our permit in the fall, that was when we were here, when Andrea and I were here in late summer, fall, I think it was September, for that first step for the invasive species management, we presented our invasive species management plan that included the control of the invasive gray willow, the Phragmites, and so forth. And so that did include the Phragmites area, where one of the first things that we need to be able to do in order to have a closer look at how clogged up that creek is, and is there a subtle berm or impoundment that's causing that water to back up and not letting that flow through. The Phragmites is hampering us from even being able to see that level of detail on the on the ground surface. And so we haven't done that work yet. What we are still in planning phase to do is, when are we going to go in there, literally weed whack down the Phragmites first in those most critical areas where we believe the tidal creek is going through, or is trying to go through, or is getting stuck going through, weed whacking that down and then getting a really, really close look at the ground surface to figure out, okay, where is it getting stuck? And so we'd like to be able to deal with the Phragmites more holistically, but it is 4 acres of frag that we don't envision going in there every year and trying to get rid of every single stem. We just don't think that's likely going to be practical. The most practical thing that we know we do need to do is figure out how can we get tidal flow to come through there with more regularity and not get clogged up by the Phragmites. So that's part of what we're asking here today is, though we've already gotten permission to sort of deal with the Phragmites and being able to weed whack it down so we can see what's going on. With this part of the restoration, we also want to pair being able to use things like shovels, for example, to be able to unclog the ditch where we're seeing that the overgrowth is really creating an impounding condition.
What will you do with the material that we whacked? What will you do with that Phragmites you're cutting down?
Yeah, so in most cases, we would likely leave it
On the ground and
surface.
okay. Now, the invasives that you're cutting, what are you doing with that material?
It's getting chipped. And
Chipped.
Yes, getting left on site.
Okay. Michael, did you have something else?
Yeah, Jessica kind of beat me to it already. It was all about like management of this other plan and so on and so forth, so I'm okay.
Okay. Christine, anything? She's riding hard.
I don't think I have anything else to add. I like the project. I think it sounds really good. I think it's something that's going to be really beneficial in a lot of different ways, not just for the environment, but for the community as well. And, yeah, although I was wondering, how long ago has it been now that the bogs in Mattapoisett have been restored?
So this is going to be year 3 growing season. So we've gone 2 full years of post-construction monitoring there.
All right, cool. That's a personal thing for some other completely different thing, but yeah, I love seeing the restoration projects come in.
Is there anybody online, John, that has a hand up, or anybody in the audience who'd like to comment on this project?
Not at this time.
Any other questions on the board? Jessica?
None.
Scott?
No, not at this time.
Paula Jean?
No, thank you.
Michael?
Not this time.
Kwame?
No, thank you.
All right. Are we ready to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. Christine, your recommendations.
Standard order of conditions, like the reports for the annual, just to see how everything's going along. If you guys do any biodiversity sampling, or if you do any like biodiversity metrics, like Scott was saying, just provide a copy of those as well. I just think it's good to be able to monitor that long term and that change that you see from being something that's inactive to self-sustaining.
Anything else anybody would want to add to the standard order of conditions in annual reporting?
Sure.
May I ask a clarification question? When you say standard order of conditions, because this was submitted as an ecological restoration NOI, that would be a standard, okay.
Yeah, standard
thank you.
restoration order of conditions.
Thank you. I will make that note. Standard
Restoration.
Okay. Someone wants the motion? I need a motion.
Move to accept the project using the standard restoration order of conditions plus an annual report.
That be the motion.
Second?
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
You guys ready for me to close the
Yeah.
window?
Sarah, another good project. And we're, town meeting, I'm hoping to have some 100 acres of bogs for the man project eliminated. Well, we're hoping that it gets paid at, we're hoping it gets approved at town meeting for the funds to buy the man bogs, which will add to your flow of water. Thank you. Boy. Okay,
Next one.
sorry, it was another personal comment. Town meeting, folks. All right, next, please.
All right. Other requests for notice of intent for John and Diana Piscatelli, P.O. Box 106, Wareham, Mass. This is an after-the-fact filing for work completed in 2010. Approval is requested for an existing concrete driveway, concrete patio, crushed stone driveway, and walk. And concrete walk, all of which were not shown on the prior approved plan. Map 10, lot 1009, lot 109, I'm sorry, lot 109, 1009A rather. 20 Long Neck Road, Wareham, Mass. And notice to open hearing, please.
I have that motion.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstains. Thank you, the hearing's open, and who's here representing this project?
Madam Chair, Bob Rogers, GAF Engineering, on behalf of the applicant. This particular piece of property, we had started with a submission of a request for a certificate of compliance for that order of conditions that was issued in 2009. So we identified, as we always do, we identified the deviations from the approved plan, which was the concrete surface of the driveway, the concrete patio, and some crushed stone driveway and walkway on the Long Neck Road side of the house. And in coordination, after we had filed it, it had been on your agenda, I think a couple of meetings. I coordinated with Christine, who's no longer here, and because there was a specific special condition in the order that said, should the owner request a non-pervious driveway, you shall come back to the commission for a new hearing. And so we, quickly agreed we would submit a notice of intent for those items that were not shown on the prior approved plan. We were headed in a direction of providing some mitigation for the drainage, but then, we were told by the owners and confirmed in the field that there was a crushed stone trench put at the end of the concrete driveway. There is a pea stone trench that runs along the retaining wall. And there's a gap in the patio. There's some soil between the edge of the concrete patio and that keystone block wall. So the person who should have filed for an amended order of conditions when he decided to do this work is deceased, and so our client is the heirs of Paul Piscatelli, John and Diana. I don't know them. Basically, I'm here to represent, and I think, at least in my opinion, this would have been approved by the prior commission with the mitigation of crushed stone trench. It wasn't engineering designed or anything, but basically the runoff from the driveway and the patio goes into the dirt bog road and eventually into the cranberry bog, which the family in, I think, 2018, the family put a wetland reserve easement on, so they own two lots. This is its own separate lot, but the bog's across the street. It's the same family. We're in planning for a subdivision. So just on the positive that I could, so they put a wetland reserve easement on that, and now they're working with the Coalition for Buzzards Bay to have them take ownership of that property. So there's no public way or a budding person who would have been potentially impacted from the additional runoff. And otherwise, we get it. Less impervious is more. is better. But the only thing I would say about this driveway, they certainly should have gotten permission, but it's a pretty steep little driveway area, and so if it was pervious or crushed stone, I don't think it would have, stayed that way. All the material would have ended up in the bog road, I believe, with the grade that they established, and so that may have contributed to their decision, but it certainly warranted a request for an amended order at the time. And then I'll just leave it up to you. It's all subjective at this point, but we're not proposing to remove any of those things that have been there since 2010.
Okay. Kwame?
My head was just spinning because, it was after the fact, but it was filed like about,
16 years ago
years
now.
ago. And now, but I mean, the bottom line is that the items that you mentioned, Bob, they're going to be restored. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're proposing no work,
Oh, no work.
and we're expecting to receive whatever fine that, the commission would impose. I don't think additional construction is necessary to mitigate the conditions that have, like it's been 16 years. When I looked on Google Earth and went back, the work was done almost immediately. It wasn't something that 5 years later we decided. So it's like, okay, so the guy showed up with the concrete and to pour the foundation, and you said, hey, can I get a little more concrete? That's what it seems like to me, but I have no knowledge of, I never knew the man. I still have not met John and Diana, but they're the heirs, and so they're settling the estate and preserving,
So
selling
they want an approved order of conditions.
Excuse me?
They want a certification of compliance,
Well, yes, correct.
and that's why we're
So-
here.
Correct. We're here satisfying that special condition finally and requesting the paved patio, the concrete patio and the concrete driveway. And so, we would pay the fine, receive and record this order of conditions. No work is approved. That seems strange, but, it's like, it's weird, we're not proposing any work, so, because the crushed stone is already there. So we would then, we've already made the request for the first, we would be getting 2 certificates of compliance, I guess. A certificate of compliance for the completed
And then new one,
driveway
and one
and
for
the-
this new plan. Okay. Anything else, Kwame?
None at this time, thank you.
Michael?
I was kind of like Kwame, my head was spinning on this one still. I was like, okay, this seemed to be done in the past, so other than that, I don't have any questions this time.
Paula Jean?
I was there today. I think this is 2026, and there are many more. I'm not as well versed in them as I would like to be, but there are so many more options for pervious materials for driveways, maybe than there were 10 years ago. And I just hate to see that concrete. I know concrete does eventually leach out some chemicals used in making it. And it sounds like a case of, we all know it's much easier to get forgiveness than permission, and the fines are pretty nearly insignificant compared to construction costs nowadays. I just hated seeing all that concrete there, and I don't think we would, if that had come to us as a new project now, I don't think we would just say, great, put in concrete. I think we'd be having quite a discussion about the options available. And that's my general feeling.
Scott?
Bob, there are 2 downspouts on the bog side of the house that take the runoff from the roof. Those downspouts go into subterranean something or other.
Ground. Yeah.
It goes underground. Do you know where the water goes from those?
I don't.
I do. I took pictures today. They've run flex pipe underneath the driveway, and then that empties directly into the wetlands.
So under the road and to the cranberry
Yes.
bog ditch?
Yeah. Which I don't think we would have approved. Normally, we, as you know, because you've been here a zillion, maybe a slight exaggeration times, but we generally ask for dry wells to be included in the plans to handle roof runoff, and especially within the 30-foot no activity zone. So I think that needs to be rectified, that running the roof runoff directly into the wetlands under the driveway is not something that would be approved. So I think maybe adding dry wells and rerouting the roof runoff into those dry wells rather than into the wetlands would be a prescription.
So that's news to me. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, I've got pictures if you want to see them, but you probably believe me anyway.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're asking, there are just two downspouts facing the bogs?
Yeah, so those downspouts, that part of the gutter system handles half of the roof of the place. And I don't know what the square footage is. It's quite a lot, though. And that would be going directly under the driveway and flex pipe and out into the wetlands. So I don't know if it's an issue or not.
Well, I'm thinking about removing that pipe
Well,
or blocking it
Just block
blocking it in such a way that it would not put water run off into the bogs themselves or to the.
I mean, it is, I get it, and it's not right, but it is residential roof runoff, which doesn't have any water quality associated with it. And them being the bog owners at the time, I'm seeing they want all the water they can get, right? Let's put it into the bog. But again,
What happens to the runoffs in the back of the house?
well, I don't know that they even have, because the leach field is in the back of the house.
yeah,
So-
the plan that was submitted for the notice of intent was a sewage disposal system design plan, and so I think that was the focus at the time. But there was no requirement for roof infiltration at that time by the commission.
Okay, so I'm hearing install two dry wells and block the drainage from going under the road.
Right,
Into
so
the bog.
the blockage would have to be at the bottom of the downspouts,
Yep.
so it doesn't enter the flex
So
pipe
when
at
they
all.
do the dry well, block it there.
They'd have to turn it and,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
we could cap that pipe if that's what we do. We run it to a dry well, we just cap the pipe and abandon it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the dry well would go for the one on the west side, but that would be an engineering issue. I think the east side one would be easier, but what do I know?
Yeah, no, if that's the consensus of the commission, then that's what I'll work on.
Anything else, Scott?
No, I think that's all right.
Thank you. Jessica?
Did the commission approve construction of a driveway into the 30-foot no activity zone, or did we not have it at
We
that
probably
time?
didn't have it. I'm trying to remember how long ago. 30 foot is fairly recent.
It wasn't on the prior plan. All I saw was a 100-foot buffer on the prior plan. I didn't see a 30-foot no activity zone, but that, again, I think that regulation was in place in 2009.
It was?
Well,
No.
you had the bylaw, but maybe not the no activity zone.
Didn't we
mean, this-
just,
It was in place when I got here.
I thought it was like 2015.
I was
Because
gonna
I
say it was
thought
in
we
place when I got here.
discussed that
Yeah.
for the 30-foot.
This is the as-built.
Did they build the house in 2010?
Correct.
Okay, so that's where the driveway,
And I saw a nice clear 2012 aerial
So-
picture that showed all the concrete.
anything else, Jessica?
30-foot no touch, is it possible it was 2007?
I don't think so. I don't think it was that long ago. I don't think it was that long ago.
Okay.
Because I remember when we brought up this no touch, a selectman was very concerned that we were taking the land away from the homeowners. And it wasn't,
Here, the term "no activity zone" shall include a portion of the buffer zone, blah, blah, blah. Article 27 of the April 26, 2010 town meeting. Is that,
So that's after this order of conditions.
and the AG approved it October 15, 2010. If that's,
yes, thank you. So there,
So this was before, this was issued in July of 2009.
okay. So we all remember 2010, so we don't keep asking the same, I don't keep asking the same question. Christine, any comments on this project? Anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on 20 Long Nick Road?
No one has their hand raised.
Thank you.
I have a question, though. So how would we do this? So the Bob's come before us, not proposing any new work, but now it's become evident that
Well-
more work needs to be done. So would we
That's-
continue to look for a plan?
We can approve this with a stipulation that no work can be done until a plan is committed to Christine that shows the dry well and the capping. Doesn't have to come back to us.
Okay.
Well, that's
Because
what I
we've done-
thought. I would ask for a continuance, get it changed on the plan with coordination with the client,
Okay,
and
so
get an order of conditions that's,
would
you
you
know, and
prefer
I'm-
a continuance waiting for a new plan? Would you prefer to be continued, waiting for a new plan to be presented to us?
well, I guess in a perfect world, I would get a special condition that would say disconnect and cap that roof leader pipe and install a dry well. And then we would prove that to you on an as-built when we come back for the certificate of compliance.
And then submit the new plan to Christine so it's on file,
Yeah, sure.
opposed to coming back to us for
If that's possible, it's your purview.
We've done it before, that on a simple change, that we don't have to come back and approve the plan if
Okay.
it's given to Christine with those modifications to it, so.
All right, well, so just to cover my coordination with the owner, I guess I think I
Would you
still
prefer to
should.
be continued in case they wanted to object?
Yes,
All right, there it is.
yeah. So,
continue
and-
to
so
When's May
just a
6th?
2-week,
May
May
6th
6th
is the next one?
yeah.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so take a motion to continue until May 6th. I hear that
So
motion?
moved, yes.
Second.
And I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. To
Appreciate
give your
it.
client a chance to, so the condition we're adding is 2 dry wells and blocking the capping
Capping the
the
existing
pipe
discharge.
that goes to the bog. Okay,
Yes.
all right. Next one, please.
All right. On request for a notice of intent for George Rodriguez Jr., 396 Bay Road, Southeastern Mass. 02571, removing trees on property. Map 52, Lot Wareham, 000, 52B, again, 000, Lot 00, DR 711, 80794, 3 Marks Cove, Wareham, Mass. And notice to open hearing, please.
I have that motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain. Who's here representing that project? Are they online?
No one has raised their hand at this time.
Okay, I visited the site, all the trees were marked. My concern is that it may not all be his property. I want to see a lot line where these trees stand because they're up against the Wareham Land Trust land they just purchased for, what's that?
Riverwalk.
Riverwalk, that 1.2 million we paid them. So they're up against the old Gleason property, and I'd love to see a lot line, because it's my understanding these trees are being cleared for solar on the house, correct?
Oh,
That's what I was told, yeah.
that's why,
That's why they want to get rid of
Alright.
the shading. But I would,
was all
since
the
we did
big-
not have a plot plan, I don't know where these trees are located on the lot line.
I didn't
And
see-
by looking at a GIS map, I have some questions.
I didn't see any flags or.
No, they marked the trees. They
Correct,
they
the
got,
spray
big
painted
X's
trees
on the
in the
trees,
back, yeah.
Can we
But-
move forward without someone representing the project?
well, we couldn't going to continue,
Okay.
Okay.
Move to continue to May 6th.
Second.
but with a stipulation that we must be able to, it's hard to believe the land for the land trust wasn't surveyed. So there has to be some type of record around. I have a motion to continue until May 6th.
Yes.
We should contact the land trust and ask them,
I-
or no,
Yeah.
this,
I am sure Kathy and Nancy are on.
yeah.
So
Sure.
they have an open application for the solar, which should show a site plan.
Okay? But to me, I would like to see a site plan showing the lot line with the location of the trees on a plan.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yep, as opposed to just marking a tree saying I want it down.
Really?
Because I was quite surprised, there's one tree leaning dangerously against his canvas garage for his bike, and I'm surprised that one wasn't marked, because I would have taken it down because it's leaning.
Right,
But
the
that-
one tree that looked like it
Yeah.
might, maybe should go.
As opposed to, it wouldn't,
Right.
anyway, we had a motion to continue to 5/6.
Second.
At the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so. So Christine, can you let them know we want a plot, a lot?
Yep.
Plan showing the lot line. Okay, that's continued. We now have continued public, okay. The safe harbor has already been continued until 6/3. 7 Burgess Point Road has been continued until 6/17. Town of Wareham Minot Ave, the bike path has been continued until 6/17. We're now up to Riverhawk. Anything on them?
No, so the last time I spoke to the representative, they continued to the last meeting. I haven't spoken with them since then. But the only thing that I know is that they're having a difficult time getting in contact with the owner of the property. So they haven't really been able to move forward because they're not getting any feedback.
How long do we continue this?
2 months ago.
Yeah, I'll give him another call tomorrow and see if he's heard anything, but I have a feeling he hasn't.
Wait a minute. Riverwalk started us on August 20th, 2025?
Last summer.
It's been going on,
been
I was
going
gonna
on a
say, it's
long
been going on
time.
since at least last October, if memory recalls.
Yeah, that's when we had our first hearing, August 2025.
Yeah, I'd sent over a list of drafted conditions to them. I never heard anything back about it, but I'm guessing it's because they haven't heard anything back from the owner.
Okay, what do we do?
But this is a restoration, sort of a restoration.
Yes, it is.
Project, right?
Sort
So do you think they'd be more responsive if it was positioned as an enforcement as opposed to, you know, if we converted it to that type of a matter?
So this is actually, the filing is the result of 2 enforcements. I had to send 2 enforcement orders before we even got a response for this. So I don't think that it's going to be very effective because they already have an enforcement and they're,
Well, can you go every day
I
and give
should.
them new letters? So it's 300 times 2, $600 every day. Just on your way into work, Christine, stop and
Stop, just be like, here, this is for your owner. Make sure he gets it.
every day you can do
Every
it.
day.
That might get their
Well,
attention.
4 days a week anyway.
Okay.
I think I will probably at least make a stop over at the site itself and see if I can speak to somebody over there because I don't think the representative's having any luck with it.
Does the town attorney need to be involved in this then?
Well, I would not go there yet. Is there anything that can be done with our planner? Any extra weight,
I don't.
pressure?
I don't think so. I think one person might be able to, well, she's not in our office anymore though, so I don't know if it's something I could go to her with, but she might be able to get in touch with the owner.
But
I
it's,
just don't
But the
know.
owner's an LLC, right?
Well, there's one specific person who this has been addressed to consistently and who the representative's been in contact with consistently. And that owner is just not getting back to the representative.
But is the legal owner an LLC?
I don't actually.
it says so, Riverhawk LLC.
No, Riverhawk's the
It's a golf
the
course,
firm
isn't it?
that's doing the representation.
So we should go to the golf course people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is that an individual or a business?
Bay Point's a business.
Bay Point, yeah.
So that business would have a registered agent who can accept communication on their behalf. We shouldn't need to be
So reach
tracking
out to Bay Point.
Right, and, you know, it seems fundamentally wrong that we're making Christine do all these things repeatedly, and she's on our nickel, that's the taxpayers, whereas maybe they should be footing the bill and be fined.
I don't
You
think
know, is
there's
that
any
fundamentally
incentive.
fair?
There's no incentive for them to be responsive. I mean, they don't care.
Are you meeting with Rich Bowen once a week?
He's actually here tomorrow, I believe, so I can actually go talk to him.
If it's okay with the chair, maybe that would be a suggestion for one of your agenda items, to see how the town would like to proceed with get this enforcement order enforced.
I would make a motion that we ask Christine to speak with town council regarding Riverhawk's reluctancy to respond to us.
Second.
In the meantime, do you want to continue until 5/6?
Well, we have one motion on the table.
Yeah,
Oh.
need to vote.
Suppose of the,
Oh, that's the motion. It's seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, okay. Christine can talk to Mr. Bowen. The next one is continuing the hearing until 5/6.
so moved.
I have that motion and a second.
Second.
I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. The next one we have is 17 Atlantic Ave, and they had requested they continue until 5/6.
Right.
I know it says continue to 5/6 on the agenda, but we never voted on it, so
So moved?
I have that motion.
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, it's continued until 5/6. Widow Cove Lane. The applicant is proposing a reconstruction of an existing dock on an easement of coastal bank buffer zone to coastal beach in land subject to coastal storm flowage.
Thank you.
Where did I put it? I can't find my notes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
And who's representing this project, please?
Good evening, Bill Lockwood, Lockwood Architects. With me is
Susan Broderick.
the owner of the easement, one of the owners of the easement, on which we're proposing to do some modifications and enhancements to an existing deck, which provide on an easement on the property at 16 Widows Cove. As you may recall, we were here a month and a half ago.
Could have been.
Something like that. And there were some objections to our proposal at that time, where we were proposing a reconstruction of the existing deck. And it involved, we had a couple things that the owner of the property on which the easement resides They objected to the fact that we had a couple of kayak racks shown on the plan, as well as a fold-down ladder, which they considered unsafe. So before you now is a revised plan where we have cut back the actual size of the flat surface so that we would have room to provide a code-compliant stairway down to the beach. We will be replacing components of the existing structure as rot or rust determines is prudent. And we will be putting cable rails on the side to prevent falling off, and then a rail down to the beach, and so that people can safely pass down the right-of-way to the beach, which is the purpose of the right-of-way.
Okay. Kwame,
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just looking at the abutters list. I don't have any questions right now, thank you.
who owns the property?
Jeff, what?
Jeffrey Johnson.
Okay. And there is a right-of-way across his land to get to this viewing station and access to the water, right?
13 Widows Cove, which we own, along with 14 Widows Cove, has a 20-foot.
And only the two of you?
No, there are other neighbors that
So
have.
there's a right-of-way for everybody in the area,
Pretty much, in the neighborhood, yeah.
in the neighborhood. Okay. Sorry.
But ours is the only 20-foot.
So how wide is this right-of-way?
20 feet.
And who has the use of this right-of-way?
I believe it's 9 people, I understand it's 9 people.
9 properties.
9 properties, yes.
Could be 15 people, but 9
Yeah,
properties
Yeah,
in that Widows Cove area.
correct.
Sorry, I needed that clarified. Michael?
Okay, I'm looking at this. Are there any like racks or anything for like, say, kayaks or boats or any other kind of thing like that nature?
In the previous scheme, we had some that had been removed.
All right.
So there are none currently shown or contemplated.
Okay, so there's going to be none on this one then?
No.
Nope, all right. Okay, no further questions, Madam Chair.
Paula Jean?
I'm thinking of the trees they want to cut down, but we want to know whose land they're on before we give,
What trees?
perhaps.
We're not
the
cutting
la-
down
the
any
prior-
we're not
the
cutting
prior-
down any
No, I
trees.
know that. I'm
Oh.
referring to the prior hearing. That was about
Oh,
removing
okay.
trees, but we wanted to have clarification. Is it actually on their land or someone else's land? My understanding is a right-of-way is the right to pass and repass. And I think 20-foot width is pretty customary. But regardless of that, I have a right-of-way to a beach, but I don't think I can go down there and build it. Someone else's land. You
This
don't
isn't-
own the land, it's a right-of-way.
This is an
a deeded-
exist, number.
A deeded easement.
It's a
right-of-way.
deeded easement. Number one, it's an existing structure that has fallen into
I
disrepair,
remember that. Mhm.
and we want to repair it because people have had access to the beach, and our deed includes 20 feet of beach right there.
Right.
The previous stairs, if you remember from our discussion, were
Onto
off to
someone
the
else's
right, and they
property.
went on to someone else's
And
property.
that's shown on the plan before you, right?
You
as
can
well.
see where those
Yeah.
were.
So
And
the,
Mr. DeJesus, who was the previous property owner there,
He
took
raised
those
he
off.
raised the flag on that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
He took
so if
them
the
off.
existing piece of whatever is there is blocking you, preventing you from using the water, is that what the problem is?
The problem is that there's no way down to the water from that.
It's a 6-foot
from
drop.
that deck.
Let you-
Yeah, I went there, I walked there.
So there's no
I've seen it. So
access?
that,
You can't-
so if this material, if the owner were asked to move, be it a dumpster, be it this, be it broken glass, and if it were blocking your access to the water, I could see then the owner of the property would have a responsibility to remove the obstruction. But I don't understand the permission to build a new whatever it is.
We're not asking to build new, we're
Repair,
asking to repair.
Rehab, repair.
Because
rehab.
otherwise, no one has any access.
So you can't
to
get
the-
around it.
You can't get down there. It's all, it's all
It's all boulders. and,
boulders.
And negotiation has failed.
We received a letter from Mr. Johnson's attorney stating that if we approved his plan coming up, that he would think about looking at our,
I'd very much like to hear what the homeowner has to say
He's
as
here.
well. I know that.
But I'm going to, anything else before I ask?
No, I might want to come back with something,
Yep.
no, please.
Scott?
I think as far as our jurisdiction, we need to limit it to the plan itself. I have no objection to this plan structure as shown in the diagram as modified. But I would like to see any documentation that we have that go to the applicant stipulate that the judgment or the approval of the application, we put it that way, is limited to the proposed project, not to any legal issues that might attend to it.
the attorney's
I
online.
think that's appropriate.
Yeah, he's online.
In other words, we just limit ourselves to what our jurisdiction is and let the legal people do their thing.
We have oversight of the elevated platform and the stairs to the beach.
Right,
Period.
right, so we just focus on that. If the
And
If the plan is, it's 5 feet, it's 5 feet wide, which is allowed under the bylaws. The materials seem adequate, they seem appropriate for this, and I think that we need to just limit ourselves to that. But the documentation should stipulate that that the approval does not imply approval of, or superseding any legal issues that may attend to this, that is just about this particular.
That the conditions are just based on the platform and the set of stairs to the beach.
Exactly.
It does not indicate that we support any other decision one way or the other regarding access
Exactly.
or ownership or control.
I think it's even more limited than that, because I think our approval would be to say, this structure would be approved by us, but doesn't say that they have permission to move forward with it, in some ways, because I think that's outside of the scope of our area of
Yes.
expertise and certainly jurisdiction. You know, generally, we are not experts in what easements grant and do not grant, and what they allow and do not allow. Do they allow maintenance but not improvement? You know, like, these are outside of what we, I think, can decide.
Okay, Scott, another question?
No, that's it.
Jessica, any other comments?
I mean,
We'll be,
I'm comfortable with making a determination and voting on a matter regarding a proposed structure.
and indicate it's limited to this.
Well, I mean, it's not saying that this is a permit or a permission to move forward, you know, it's potentially a matter that really belongs in the land court and not necessarily in front of conservation to be able to give a green light to do something that may or may not be more appropriately adjudicated elsewhere.
Okay. Christine?
So there is actually, in the general conditions under the Wetlands Protection Act, the second one does state that the order does not grant any property rights or any exclusive privileges. It does not authorize any injury to private property or invasion of private rights. So it does, the orders themselves essentially are stating that what's being proposed is compliant with the Wetlands Protection Act regulations, but your legal right to build, if it's on somebody else's property, that's a legal issue that conservation commissions wouldn't have jurisdiction over.
So the document could just refer to that section of the Wetlands Protection Act.
Yeah, general condition number 2.
It's called General Condition Number 2.
Yeah, it's general conditions under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act on the order of conditions. but it just grants the applicant basically the right to say, my project meets the performance standards set forth in the Wetlands Protection Act.
And, you know, in that it's no different from any other project which needs conservation approval, but also needs other approvals.
I think it is different, though. I mean,
What-
we are talking about building something on, although there's an easement, we're talking about approving the building of something on someone else's land
Well,
without
there is that, yeah.
approval or consent, so I think it's materially different.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Anybody online? Anybody? Okay, I'll take the one online first. Please let them in and identify.
Good evening. My name is Adam Cook-Bazal. I represent the property owner, Jeffrey Johnston, who owns the property where the easement is located. Thank you very much for having me, and I will address a brief reminder to the commission. My colleague, Attorney Michael Rosen, was at your prior meeting, and our understanding was that this commission had agreed that it would be premature to make any decision on this application until the matter that I believe is 2 away on the agenda first be concluded. So that would be our request, that matter SE 76-2819 be resolved before any decision is made on this matter.
I think they're separate. Why would you say that we have to do the 76-2819 first? Why?
My understanding is that was the agreement that the commission had come to at the prior meeting, that while discussing this, there was some substantive discussion, and 2 things that were addressed. One was that the property owner and the applicant, although the commission, I believe there was some discussion about the disagreement about the scope, that they addressed this individually, not in front of the commission, which we have taken efforts to do. And second, that because there's an active enforcement order, that would need to be resolved prior to any order on this application.
Where's the enforcement order?
There was an enforcement order issued back in 2023 or 2024 on 16 Widows Cove for alteration of vegetation on a coastal bank. And there was the application that's on the amended orders of conditions section is a result of that enforcement order.
We also have an issue with the clearing of the brush, of the vegetation along the walkway that wasn't permitted, so that's still outstanding.
Which was the result of the second enforcement order. And the property owner did submit an application for that, but essentially what happened was they already had one order of conditions open, and the work was so similar and pretty much in the same area that I was advised that they should just amend the order of conditions that's already available so that both of those enforcement orders could be addressed under the same permit.
So that's the amended order of conditions we have coming up?
Yes.
All right. So we have in front of us, would you like to speak to what we're talking about, the construction of the existing deck that is in front of us right now?
Yeah.
You have to come up to the microphone and identify yourself, please.
Jeffrey Johnson, owner of the property at 16 Widows Cove Lane.
Thank you.
I just received the plans about an hour ago. My initial thought is I appreciate the fact that the ladder is being removed and stairs. I did see that it mentions a code. I don't know the architect's background and how it relates to structural along waterfront as opposed to building the house across the street. So I'd like that to be addressed. As far as replacing the deck, there's currently 2 posts that are holding the existing deck. In that drawing, there's 6. So it's not as though they're just putting a couple new brackets into an existing, where the current brackets are. There's more work structurally that needs to be done to make that deck happen.
I count 10. I count 10 posts.
That's what over the rocks, I apologize.
I see 10 posts on this plan, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
right now, there's 2 posts.
Lockhart, right, 10?
Well, it's actually 8,
2, 4, 6, 8, and at the bottom.
some residue there.
Right now, it's being, the rocks are only supported, there's only 2 posts that are attached to rocks supporting that current deck. If we're talking a repair, and if the repair is actually a permitted structure to begin with, as you guys mentioned, if it was permitted, I haven't seen a permit, and I find it hard to believe that a permit would allow the ending stairway to access somebody else's property who obviously didn't want it, because they ripped the stairs down.
All right. Not to each other, please.
So can I ask a question about?
Please do, I'm getting confused.
I'm sorry, the attorney, I forgot your name already, I'm sorry.
Adam, somebody I can't pronounce.
I do not take it personally. With a nice, simple German last name like this, please feel free to call me Adam.
Thank you.
All right, Adam. So let's take the argument a step further. Let's say that the property owner really doesn't want something to happen on the easement. I mean, really doesn't want to happen. And if this commission agrees with the argument of Adam that we can't approve anything until any existing enforcement orders have been resolved, then all the owner would have to do is cut down another tree or do something else, dig a hole or whatever, and call Christine and say, I've done something else, I need to have another enforcement order, and could postpone the project indefinitely. So I don't see the strength of that argument, really.
I don't see the necessity of it either. I don't think that they should be blended. They're not contingent upon each other.
Okay, so there's 2 arguments against Adam's
And I don't think
argument.
the Conservation Commission made an agreement that we didn't vote on.
If I may address the hypothetical, commissioners, I can appreciate that concern. That's a bit different than the situation that we have before us. The outstanding enforcement order is 2 items away on the current agenda, and an alternative proposed plan has been provided. So this is not a situation where Mr. Johnson is continuing to cause potential violations for the enforcement order. Rather, he has proposed a plan to satisfy the obligations. So this is not some situation where we are trying to continue some sort of procedural purgatory. And I'm not here to question the merits of whether or not there was an agreement. My understanding is that this was the discussion that the commission had. If I am mistaken, my apologies. My understanding is that because the location of the deck falls within the geographic scope of the current enforcement order, that matter would first need to be resolved before any other order could be issued.
Because the construction of this, or the rehabilitation of this deck would interfere with the enforcement?
So
No,
Is that the
I'm
argument?
going based off of what the prior discussion was of the commission, and full disclosure, I was not privy to that, I wasn't present, but my understanding is that because we're talking about the same geographic location involving the same wetlands area, that was the commission's concern at the prior meeting.
Yeah, that's not how I remember it anyway.
So what I spoke to the Department of Environmental Protection about this, and they essentially said that there shouldn't be 2 open orders of conditions on the same property where essentially very similar work is being done in pretty much the same area, which is why the amendment happened.
So are there competing applications for approval for a design for this structure?
No, so this is the only one that's proposing anything with the stairs. I'm trying to remember. I haven't spoken to anybody at DEP about this property since, but every time that I did speak to them, they essentially just told me that there shouldn't be 2 open orders of conditions. And I think that was mainly when the applicant, well, the homeowner, put in the first notice of intent for the second enforcement order. And
But they're two different owners.
yeah,
There's a property owner and there's a easement holder owner. So they're really 2 different entities.
I think it's just the same.
I did speak to DEP because, as Christine mentioned, part of the confusion, because I wanted to get some clarification with regards to my application. I was like, I sent it in, you denied it, then another application went in, you accepted their application. Apparently the agent that was there, they said, that was doing my application, had gone on maternity leave. The new agent that got the Broderick application, when they went to check on the work that was being done, they referenced their ownership of 13 Widows Cove Lane, not recognizing that the work was in fact taking place on 16 Widows Cove Lane. Once given a DEP number, they could not give it back. However, customarily, whenever a project is taking place within the same area, you have to amend the project, hence the reason why my amendment had to take place, as opposed to, even though it was a different project, yes, I'm replanting, but essentially, because of the proximity of the project, because I said, hey, listen, what if I had 20 acres? You know what I mean? On one side, I'm doing this. On the other side, I'm doing this. He goes, well, then that would be allowed. He said, but looking at your map, this is all happening in the same place. That's why an amendment is required. And he said that was an oversight on the departments, that their application was accepted.
Mr. Lockwood, do you feel like the project could be completed without interfering with the other work that's proposed for them?
I believe this project is materially different from the planting project that Mr. Johnson is under review about. And the confusion if I understand it, and I don't pretend to understand all the complexities of his filings, but he had 2 outstanding notices of intent, which were then combined back into one, whereas ours is, I believe, a materially different project from what he is contemplating in either one of his filings that have now been combined into a single filing.
So it's the location, not the work that's being done.
I don't believe you're going to be planting anything on top of the deck.
On the rocks.
Christine, what's the impact of the outstanding work regarding clearing of vegetation enforcement order? What's the status of that?
That's why he's amended the order of conditions, so that he could put that
But he
work.
didn't clear he didn't clear the vegetation.
No, but it's still on his property.
So that's what,
The enforcement orders have to get.
Okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
So we're going to be later on addressing what had been cleared
Yes.
without your knowledge.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Please, not yet. We're not in that hearing. We're not on that hearing.
But there's another hand raised.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not, I will. Are you done, Mr. Johnson? Are you done, Jeff?
No, I said all I need to.
Okay. I just waiting for him to clear the table. John, I understand there's a hand raised?
Yes, I will.
Please let him in. Please identify yourself.
Can I be heard?
Yes?
My name is Mark Lanza. I am the attorney for the applicants. I have appeared before the board before on this very same matter. I just want to provide a little clarity and a little response to the landowner's statements and the landowner's counsel. There was a suggestion that somehow this application is contingent upon the outcome of Mr. Johnson's application, or should I say notice of intent to amend his order of conditions. There was never any such agreement, and that's not the case. There was some concern generally about whether DEP has a policy or a rule about multiple NOIs on a piece of property. It does. It's called Wetlands Program Policy 88-3, multiple filings. And it says, in very clear English, from time to time, the department receives revised notices of intent involving the same or very similar project for which a request for a superseding order of conditions or an adjudicatory hearing is pending. That's not the case here. The applications are not the same project or a very similar project. This project is strictly a deck repair or renovation and a stairway to the beach replacement. If you looked at the footprint of the project, it's not the same as the footprint of the work that's being proposed by Mr. Johnson regarding replanting and a fence on the other side of the property. So we would really request that, this is probably, I think, the third appearance for this very modest project, that the board act on it separately and under the Wetlands Protection Act and the Wetlands Bylaw of the town. We understand and acknowledge that in doing so, the board makes no decisions, no findings, no rulings, no authorizations concerning property rights. We'll deal with that if we have to. But we would really appreciate the board considering this matter on its merits regarding the wetlands impacts, if any, separate and apart from any other applications pending relative to other projects on the property that are not in the same location as this project.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else have their hands raised, John?
No, at this time.
Okay, any other questions on commission? Paula Jean, anything else?
Well, I was just trying to look at this deck as if it was just someone coming in we've never seen before, who has no neighbors, and they just want to put this in there at their beach. And I'm trying to picture, I know the water's down there a little bit, how crowded it is with decks. I know there's some huge docks off Burgess Point. Would we normally, is there a size restriction down there? We always want to know about shellfish and eelgrass and everything else that would come into play when someone is building a structure like this, correct?
Bill, is the high tide? High tide comes up because the pictures I have show seaweed at the bottom of this deck. So the footing for this particular stairway will be in the water at high tide, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So then we would consider those other things, correct? Wouldn't we?
Well,
We usually do.
For a dock.
Okay, but not for a...
I don't remember us, this is just a...
Well, if it's in the water and at high tide, there could be shellfish habitat, and there could be eelgrass.
No,
Because
we
usually we discuss it, well,
eelgrass
not
is in-
eelgrass, but shellfish habitat.
What is the size of this concrete landing pad?
3 feet wide, 2 feet by 8 inches.
And it will just be placed on the sand?
Is placed on the sand.
So you pour concrete on the sand and that's it? No digging or anything like that?
Put up four boards, nail them together, pour some concrete into
let
it.
it dry.
And let it dry and take the boards away.
How long does it take to dry?
One tide cycle.
One low, I was going to say low tide, yeah.
So the area...
Concrete will achieve
Sorry.
90% of its strength in the first 8 hours.
So
9
the
to 12
area
hours.
is in mapped shellfish habitat.
It's not?
It is, just so you guys are aware. That entire area is in mapped shellfish habitat. forgot my other point.
But it's a beach, though.
It is a beach. Oh, about it being under the high tide, since it's some sort of structure that's going under the high tide, I'm curious if they would need a Chapter 91 license, or if it's only if it's something for like, you know, a coastal engineering structure or deck.
What do we normally do when people just want stairs down to the beach from their
Well, if it's on the
property?
beach, but not in the water, that would be.
Yeah, the difference is that if it's going past that
Dry.
high tide line, that's usually in Chapter 91 jurisdiction.
But every beach here will be underwater at king tides, for example. That's why there are seawalls and other structures. So is it continuously under high tides?
I don't think so, because you do find a lot of jetties around that are conveniently just poked out at low tides and everything. There is a map layer that shows historical and the like modern or current high tide lines on Mass Mapper, and it's basically just whether or not a structure is going past those parameters.
And does it?
That I don't know. What I can see is that the mean high tide line seems to go pretty close to the beach itself. Some parts of it are actually a little higher up on land in certain areas here. But
Of course, in 5 years, the whole thing may be underwater, but that's a separate issue.
There's a lot of beach grass there now, right?
yeah, no, and that's not something that I'm bringing up as a
No,
thinking
but-
into the future sort of thing. It's just if it's going to be past that mean high tide line that's already mapped.
I have a quick question.
Wait,
No, I'm sorry.
Scott, are you,
Yeah, no.
okay, yeah, let me.
So, Bill, have you structurally done something like this before? And I'm not questioning your expertise or anything like that, but have you done something structurally
This would
like
be a
this
first.
before? This is your first? Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, the mahogany, it's some really nice, flavors going on here on this plan. But do you think it's going to withstand all the foot traffic, the weather, and the wear and tear eventually? I mean, I'm just asking.
Yeah, will it withstand a major hurricane event? Possibly not. Will it withstand the normal course of events? Probably will, yeah.
So it's, yeah, I'm just saying, that I'm just asking, it's a general consensus,
Yeah.
that's all. Not the question.
We will engineer it robustly.
Sure.
If the stairs are there, how many stairs will be underwater at high tide?
I have been there at high tide and at low tide. And I would say probably no more than one or two at normal high tide.
And at king high tide?
King high tide,
Another
at,
couple more.
at another riser,
Yeah, full moon high tide, yeah.
So that, is
So-
that Chapter 91?
I don't know. Yes,
I think I can help answer that question because every dock in the area has to have stairs coming up and going down so that people can pass
yes.
on the beaches. And they're all one or two underwater at high tide.
Are those,
All of them, every single one of them along the beach where we are.
That's right, too, they
Yes,
can't
it is.
obstruct
Yeah.
foot traffic.
Yeah.
How would people get by this one? Would it have another steps on the side so that if someone walking along the beach on the wet sand where they're allowed to walk, how would they get around this? Or would they have to go on the low end in the water?
they would get their feet wet.
They're not going underneath the deck.
No, they can't go under it.
No.
Can't.
No.
So they'll just walk in front of the stairs. Jessica, you had something?
no.
Can I just follow up on Kwame's question? Bill, what are the stringers made of?
Probably pressure-treated lumber. reinforced with some aluminum probably.
Okay. I'm just giggling at your probably
Well,
statement.
we haven't fully designed it yet.
Okay.
Normally for a dock, we ask for so many spaces between the planks. Would that be hold here?
I think we have no objection to that.
We normally look for, what is the space we ask for on a dock between planks?
2 inches, 3 inches?
No,
1 inch, 1.5.
Thought it was like 3/4 of an inch or so.
Quarter of an inch?
it's less than that. It's,
Maybe it's a half or a quarter of an inch.
yeah, but the issue is about shading
Yeah.
Yes.
on a dock. But the shading is, I don't think is an issue here because it's just over
We'd be
rocks.
shading rocks in this case.
I don't think it's an issue here.
But I do have one. So is it just the rail that's going to be aluminum or anything else?
There probably will be other aluminum parts.
So a
And
mahogany rail.
brackets
aluminum
and
rail.
fasteners, stainless fasteners.
Okay, I was just wondering because with it being exposed to salt water over time, it'll corrode. So I don't know how long that process will take, but just wanted to see if you guys had like planned for that, if it's got to be repaired like that in the future or anything.
Well, the aluminum will hold up in a saltwater environment for probably a couple decades.
It's the same materials you're using on boats.
Jeff, Jeff has his hand up. Please come up and ask your question.
I want to have a picture showing that the water goes halfway up the rocks that are there. So to answer the question of how high does the water go, there's a photograph here if anybody would like to see it. Number two, I can tell you that those stainless steel cables, I have just recently found out that I've put on my porch railing of my house. I can tell you that those were installed in October, and I just had to re-screw about 15 of them in because they came loose.
Yeah, mine are fine. So are we close to closing the hearing?
I think so. But we have the question that was raised is whether or not it's going to be placed over a shellfish bed.
Can we see the picture of the water? Or is that gonna?
No, that's fine.
I mean, there are ways, practical ways of determining that. And you can do a shellfish
Survey.
If it's a beach, you're not going to find anything except for shells and the occasional fiddler crab.
Or we could ask that they check to make sure there are no clams in the area before they pour the concrete.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Christine? Would you like to close the hearing?
Move to close the hearing.
I have that motion.
Second.
I heard a second. Close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed. Now, who wants to take a stab at the Christine? We're at a,
We can still have discussion, right?
yes,
I,
because we haven't done the motion yet, but we'll take no, closing the hearing makes no more public input.
and what I heard you say, or what I heard said tonight, was that it's not really fully designed yet. Did you guys hear that?
I heard that.
And we would really only be approving something once it's fully designed, right? Unless we were requesting a change to the design or materials or something specific.
Okay. We closed the hearing.
Yeah.
Was the recommendation we deny until we have a full, permanent, completed plan?
Yes.
Yes,
'Cause
I would
the-
make that recommendation.
So the motion on the floor would be that we deny the project pending a fully developed plan? Design?
Deny or continue?
No, we already closed the hearing.
So my,
We either approve or deny at this point, or we undo our closing of the hearing.
Yeah, so the issue, I think, with Jessica's, I don't know, quandary, sorry, is whether or not any changes or refinement of the plan would be substantive. So would materials, for example, whether it's pressure-treated wood or green heart or aluminum, would that substantively alter our decision about approval or not? Does that
I think
sum
that's
it up?
part of it. I think part of it too is there are likely design standards or requirements depending on what this structure is defined as. And I think it's a little bit unclear whether it's the type of structure that would fall under Chapter 91 or not, or is it a dock? Is it not? What qualifies? Because we don't have definitions within our bylaws that make that a really easy ask and answer type of thing.
So would those questions be answered with a refinement of the plan?
I don't know. I'm not sure if we would need to send.
Well, we don't know what type of
Question to
stairs,
town
what are the stairs made out of? And the stairs are going to go under the water.
So really what we're dealing with here is kind of just a fancy stairs down to the water, a safe way to get across the rocks and then down to meet the
Yes.
the requirements of a right-of-way. What's it called?
Easement.
Easement. I'm still jet lagged, I'm sorry. So it's just a fancy way of getting down to the beach, really, and a safe way of doing that.
Safe way of getting down to the beach.
And in a way that does not harm the wetland that we're charged with protecting. I think those are that's what we're talking about. And we're talking about no property rights or any of that kind of stuff, just this proposal itself. So I'm wondering, Jessica, if we were to deny based on not having a fully completed plan, whether we would be able to answer those questions.
I'm not sure they're answerable with the information we have. So, but I do think that we do ask for specificity in a plan before we approve it. And we often bring up materials. We often look for confirmation of the method of construction and how things will be affixed to the surface, and look for ways to minimize disturbance in sensitive resource areas.
So could those things be spelled out in an order of conditions? So, for example, that the decking would meet the requirements of the bylaws for a pier or dock, that the materials used would be compatible with other things we've requested before, like green heart rather than PT.
I do think so, yes, I think I think we could do that. So I would like to, I guess, withdraw then the motion that we deny it. I think we could approve
We
it
haven't done any
properly.
motion, we've closed the hearing, we've done nothing else. I mean, you brought up the issue, do we wait for a better design plan that shows us the spacing on on the platform, that shows the actual, what material the stairs will be made out
Well,
of?
and, you know, how deep are we going to affix these into the sand and
How deep?
there's just missing
Yeah,
detail.
the dimension for the platform for the landing is not clear as to the concrete landing pad. I don't,
So, and I think that to Scott's point, there is a lot we could do, but then we start to engineer this.
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Which is outside of the scope of what I
Yeah. So then we,
want to do.
do we start saying, well, the concrete has to be at least 3,000 PSI? You know, I mean, where do we end with
I don't
that?
think we should do that. I think that we should have a plan presented to us that's specific. But I can also see the value in perhaps reopening the hearing and continuing and allowing the applicant to present something more comprehensive.
okay?
So who closed the hearing?
Wait. are agreed to unclose? Is that a good way of putting it?
Reopen?
Reopen.
I don't know if it's
So
real.
who did the second on closing the hearing?
Oh, I think I did. No, I moved to close it.
No. Who did the seconding on closing?
I think I did, maybe.
Then please undo it. I just say I undo my second.
I undo
My second.
my second.
I withdraw the motion.
And the motion has been withdrawn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We're still open. We're now open. Now, we're asking for a more definitive plan that shows this material, specifically spacing on the platform,
Depth?
the depth, the concrete pad size. More information, please, Mr. Lockwood.
Where the water goes up to. Generally, we're seeing something
We
like
always
that.
see high tide mark on
Yeah.
a plan, and I don't see it here.
And is it flagged or staked or marked in any way so we could go and look and see it? Like we do for all projects before the next meeting?
Then
when we
the
get-
recommendation.
I'm sorry, we are open again? I can speak?
We're open again, you can speak, yes.
Yeah, I did put stakes out
You
there.
did, okay, 'cause I didn't go back
And of
to
course,
look.
the deck is there. to-
Okay,
So
we
if
could go
I
look
get to
at
the
it.
edge of the deck and I look over, I'll see where this concrete pad is gonna go.
Yep, and you'll see why we'd want some stairs, because it's a 6-foot drop.
Okay,
So-
so do we ask for a continuance until 5?
One quick thing I'd like to say.
Come up to the microphone so they can hear you for the minutes.
Sorry.
It's Jeff speaking.
This, Jeff, again, the property owner. Only thing that I'd like to suggest, as just like the enforcement order, I got the fine. If there is a question and this is built in 91A is a requirement, guess who gets the fine? So I'd like there to be, or some consideration with regards to the due diligence of this project, because ultimately, I'm gonna have to go in front of the DEP, I'm gonna have to go in front of the Army and Engineers, I'm gonna have to do all this stuff for a deck that serves the purpose of the others. So whether or not I agree or disagree with the deck, I'm
Then that
not saying
becomes
that.
an issue outside of our scope, I think.
I'm gonna find out if it's in the jurisdiction of it anyway. I'm gonna call them tomorrow.
Okay. Good. So in the meantime, we're continuing.
But I also think that it's important for everyone to do their own due diligence. I mean, we don't know some of these things, right? And so we don't know. And you're right, that there is liability for you as a property owner potentially.
So for the record, I'm saying that I certainly deny the project until all the due diligence and engineer who's actually done this work before and can produce documents that relate to a waterway landing and everything else be done prior to the start of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Someone want to try again?
Motion to continue till May 6th.
Is that enough
Second.
time?
I have that motion.
Do you want to wait and see, is that enough time?
If they're not ready May 6th, on May 6th, we can continue it again.
Okay.
I have that motion, and I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstains. We're continued until May 6th. We're now on to amended order of conditions, please. Michael.
Thank you all.
My computer just died on me.
Here,
Order of conditions.
amended order of conditions. You want to read it and then give it back to me?
Yeah, my computer just died on me. Maybe not. Anyway, I'll just use this anyway. Okay.
Amended order of conditions.
Okay. On the amended order conditions for Ryan Flacco, include a built fire pit and built gravel across the road from easterly property line, map 22, lot 1006A, 72 Burgess Point Road, Wareham, Mass. Notice to open here, and notice to open here, please.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. The hearing is open. And who's representing 72B Burgess Point Road?
Good evening, Brian Wallace with JC Engineering, here on behalf of the owner.
Okay. This is after the fact.
This sure is. So we had presented a certificate of compliance to the commission about 2 months ago for the site work, and I believe it was noted at the meeting that there was a fire pit installed, and there was a gravel driveway providing access to the back of the property that had not been shown on the previously approved plan. So we are back here with an amended order of conditions to request the approval of those 2 items. And we are also making a few other changes to the site plan itself, taking a few things out of that originally approved plan, that being the driveway being paved and having associated drainage infrastructure installed. We are proposing that the driveway be kept as gravel for now. And we are also removing the construction of the detached garage that had been previously shown on the plan there. There are areas in the front of the site that are still, sort of mixed, disturbed and wooded, and we're proposing that that just be stabilized with wood chips or mulch. That area is not within any resource area or buffer zone to resource area, but it is located within the flood zone. There is a section of lawn as well, as of right now, or at the time of filing the application, that had to be sodded still. That might have been done in the meantime, now that we've gone to some warmer weather, but that is at least shown on the plan as proposed sod there on the left-hand side of the house. So that's what we are requesting be approved under this amended order of conditions.
All right. Kwame,
No questions, thank you.
Michael,
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean.
I'm trying to remember if this is the project I'm thinking it is, roads?
It's the next door over.
Next door.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
That was my only question. Thank you.
Scott,
I'm too exhausted to ask any more questions. Thank you.
it's getting late. Jessica. Okay. Now, the fire pit, the gravel. What about all the trees that have been planted that weren't on the original plan?
Well, there are a lot of landscape trees that have been planted.
And right up against the butter's property, and right next, they grow any taller, they're going to be into their pump house.
Yeah, my understanding is that a lot of the plantings have been agreed upon between our applicant and the abutting landowners there.
Well, I don't know, she can't get to her pump house because the trees are so close, they're right on the property line. It wouldn't take them long to grow into the wooded pump house. What about if you go down the gravel driveway, what about all the stone wall that's been put in? That wasn't on the original plan, was it?
I do believe we did extend the wall up along the side of the house because we were always dealing with a bit of a grade differential there. So I do believe that's substantially close to what was originally proposed.
That's a pretty long Can I ask why they wanted a gravel driveway going to the front of the property?
Yeah, that's just to maintain access to the dock.
Oh, okay.
Anything that might be needed, yep.
And the fire pit is outside of our 30-foot. All right, anybody, there's nobody here. Anybody online to comment on this project? Christine, any comments?
Well, I know, even though Scott's exhausted, I know he's going to go for the fines.
Oh, there's going to be, fined on twice?
Doesn't
Hey,
always
you knew it was
have to be
coming. I
me.
just preemptively did it.
It doesn't always have to be me.
It's always you.
Is what it is.
John, is there anybody online, or have I already asked that?
Yes.
See, I'm too tired to ask. Okay, so, anybody want to take a motion to close the hearing?
That I can do.
Sure.
I
Move
have
to
a
close.
motion.
Second.
I have a second, all in favor. Now, Christine, your recommendation?
You can recommend issuance of the amended order of conditions with the fines for the unpermitted fireplace, for the gravel driveway.
And the trees.
And the trees.
So moved.
Second.
I have,
Which, they all likely would have been approved.
yes, so
So
it
it'd
would
be
be
a
$200
$200
for each,
Six
times 3.
See, I did it for you.
Thank you, Christine.
The trees, the driveway, and the pit. So that would be a standard order of conditions for the amended order of conditions with a $600 fine for 3 offenses at $200 apiece. That, I heard that as the motion.
And there's a second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain. I was going to say, wait to get approval, do the work, but it's all done.
Well, there's still some things to be done.
But I'm glad to see the paved driveway go away and the construction of another building go away.
Yeah.
Go. Hope to see you soon with the COC. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Okay, we have the next one. Oh, boy, we have an okay. We have, next one, please. Do you need it?
Yeah, I need it. My computer just went blank. I can't get it back up. Thank you.
Cooked.
Cooked is up. We are. Okay, on the amended order of conditions for Jeffrey Johnson, 16 Willows Cove Lane, Wareham, Mass. 02538. Restoring vegetation on coastal bank and planting new vegetation on property. Map 22, Lot D8, 16 Willows Cove Lane, Wareham, Mass. And notice to open the hearing, please.
I have a motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. The hearing is open. And who's representing this project, please?
Jeffrey Johnson, property owner.
Okay.
He was here.
So the plan that I'd like to propose to the committee is somewhat two parts since it's amended. The first part of the plan is the amended man, which received approval from this committee. There was a lapse in time from implementing and doing the work that was required there due to the construction of the home and inability to put plantings in because of the inability to water and take care of the plantings during the construction. That initial phase was, if you have the maps in front of you here, replacing the shrubs that I removed on the coastal bank and then adding a property barrier along my property in 14 Widows Cove Lane. At the time of the order in the presentation, I had proposed a fence along that shared property line between 14 and 16. The commission said yes to the fence. However, from the 30-foot buffer zone, we'd ask that you put in plantings, which agreed to, received the order. So that was that initial order. So I'm ready to move forward with that order. The only thing that I would like to change is that rather than the fence and having the appearance of the breakup between half your yard is essentially fence, half your yard is plantings. As you can see by the drawings here, I had an arborist and a horticulturist come out, investigate the area, and propose native plants that would be planted along the property line in its entirety, as opposed to the fence. So that would, I don't know if you would like to address that portion, I guess, of the enforcement order / NOI first, or do you want to go over the whole plan?
So the change is that instead of the fence, you want
Plantings,
plantings,
yes,
the whole length of that property line between you and 14.
correct.
And plantings along your north, south, east, west, northeast, east side along the right-of-way,
Right away. Easement?
easement, sorry.
That's a separate enforcement order. Do you
No,
want me
but
to
it's
talk
on,
about that?
it's on here.
Yeah, well, that's because they made me put it under one application.
Oh, okay.
So I had to, rather than differentiate, I had to submit one plan through the application process.
So
That's why.
we're looking at the plan. Okay, all
So
right.
I didn't know if you wanted to address the NOI in its entirety now that it's amended, or address the initial one and then the new enforcement order.
I think I'll do what's in front of me. How about you?
I love more trees. I'd take trees over a fence any day, so.
Okay,
Great.
I'll start with Jessica, you go first.
No questions.
Scott?
No questions. The only
Apology, sorry.
only note I would make is that we've asked for botanical names, not just common names for any of
Right.
the plantings.
Which I can certainly provide those. Like I said, I had an arborist and a horticulturist. I put these down because, to be honest, during our discussions on his field visit, he was saying the species names and I was completely lost.
You know, on a stamped plan, though, they should be.
Now, this plan is from '23.
But these were added after the plan, like the plan is stamped earlier.
Oh,
The plan was,
And this
the
was-
plan was more being used for dimensional purposes as opposed to,
But I do think you have to be careful with that because you have a stamped plan from JC Engineering who just left and it's been changed. But so it looks like it's being endorsed by JC Engineering, which is
understood,
not the case.
Yeah, they probably would have a problem with that, I would guess.
okay.
certainly. I can appreciate that. And I can either white out their stamp.
Just something, so it doesn't.
I can resubmit the plan with their stamp removed just to show that
Just to
it's
be
not
aware.
endorsed by them, to your point. I
Great.
can appreciate that.
Okay, so we're going to probably continue to come back with the modified plan, removing JC Engineering stamps and putting the full name for the plants. Okay, was there anything else, Scott? And I'm absolutely at the bottom of my
Gas
barrel
tank?
here. Yeah, I'm running on empty, folks. Okay,
I'd just point out it's 5 o'clock in the morning Athens time, so
okay.
we've been meeting through the night.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Well, that's, I'm hoping that's the case when I
Yeah.
get home. Okay, Paula Jean.
Trees. I approve of the trees over the fence, and the let names are better, because the more I see them, the more I memorize them. That's
Okay.
all.
Michael.
I think it's a great project. I got no further questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
That's twice you've done that. Kwame,
No questions, thank you.
what's the yellow on the plan?
So that was so I guess the second part of the plan is the enforcement order. Since the plan was amended, it's not in the coastal buffer zone, it's not in the flood zone, but it was going to be something that I wanted to bring to the committee's attention, that I would also be looking at the possibility of planting more plantings on that side also.
So the plan should include where you're going to replant the rhododendron that was ripped out, right?
So which I can certainly do, there's a few, in speaking with the arborist, and it was something that I believe I footnoted in the statements that I made, because of the way the rhododendrons along let's say when you're walking towards the water, the right side of the easement.
The east side, yeah.
Some of those were cut in a manner that the viability is in question. So what actually needs to be replaced?
Is something it doesn't have to be a rhododendron, but something in the
I would
light.
replace it with a rhododendron. It's just a question, do you want me to say I'm replacing this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one? Or I would just put a blanket statement that says anything, because ideally.
You would do a rhododendron in order to recover your privacy.
Correct. Along the right side, I used to not be able to see my neighbor.
Yep.
Now I could drive a car through
Well,
the
not-
missing space.
A little car.
Are we going to ask for native species, though?
It would be replaced, the rhododendron is what was there. I would be effectively.
Yeah, but that's not a
replacing-
native species.
Yeah, but
It's a classic species.
may not have been, but there is a rhododendron there with a hole in it.
Okay, I'm just wondering if it's the policy of this commission to, when we
But
have
take-
plantings in a wetland adjacent area that we ask for native species.
Well, take a look at what he's got on here. Rhododendron is, rhododendron is already listed under emerald arborvitae.
Neither of which is native species.
So when you add your arborist, how did he come up with this list?
Based on the amount of sunlight, soil, water, all environmental, giving the opportunity for a variety of species to inhabit and benefit from the land. I mean, I would say on a personal level, I would like to replace it with rhododendrons because that's what's all the way there. I don't feel that I should be penalized by an action that wasn't of my own doing to now putting plantings that would not coordinate with the rest of the yard.
Yeah.
So if you were to ask for the biological names, would you be able to determine whether or not the rhododendron with that particular?
Rhododendron is the genus name, but it's not the species name, and it's not native here anyway.
No kind of rhododendron is native?
No, not here.
I think so, driving around this area, it's loaded.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Cape is, the arbor, again, this planting is also consistent with work that he's done throughout the Cape and the local area. This isn't particular or any type of exotic species that is in my yard.
Well, it's not invasive, that's for sure. But we have
tried
generally, and I don't know about the garden club. They're probably violating all kinds of biological,
Offensive.
environmental considerations.
You're getting into fighting words here.
The range for rhododendron is the native range for rhododendron is from the Saudi Peninsula to the Himalayas. But the largest collection is in Scotland. Go figure.
Or the Carolinas.
But anyway.
Again, I tell you what looks nice, my knowledge of plants is minimal, hence the reason why I had a professional come down and
I don't
give
blame
me
you.
his opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, the question's not really for you, it's for us.
Yeah.
You know, what are we going to do about native species? Do we stay with that, or do we?
I mean, here we have we just approve a project to put plantings from one end to the other along their driveway, and we did not ask for a plan for what is being planted.
Yep.
You mean one of the first hearings?
The one on Elizabeth Lane.
Yeah, but they're going to plant everything that's native species. That's why they asked for the list from Christine.
I know.
But it's not on the plan.
I don't have a dog in this hunt, so
I don't have a problem with
asking
I
the
don't have a
question.
problem with the rhododendrons, I don't.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to see it replaced for what is there.
How about 80% of it's native?
Well, folks, how about, we're going to ask for a continuance to change the plans to remove the stamps and put in the full name of each one of the vegetation, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Someone?
And they're probably hybrids anyway.
Comment?
Oh, boy.
Wait a minute. Anything else, Jeff?
No, I would just, hopefully that the rest of the plan is acceptable, that way I'm excited to start
I haven't heard
planting
anything
these.
else. Yes, you have a comment? Please come forward and identify yourself.
Susan Broderick. When Mr. Johnson brought his first plan to the board that had the fence on it, there was a 6-foot limit placed on the fence, that the fence could not be higher than 6 feet because it would obstruct the view. When I looked at Mr. Johnson's plans, and I did research each one of the plants in the line between us, I have no objection to him having plants. I do object to plants that are going to become 10 or 15 feet high. And emerald arborvitae, and a lot of the arborvitae, the pyramidal hollies, get very tall. And that would obstruct an incredible view of Buzzards Bay.
But we're talking about planting on his own property.
On on the property line, though, between the two, I'm not talking about the easement side, I'm talking about the line between 14 Widows Cove and 16 Widows Cove.
So you would be looking for us to limit what the height of the plants that he can plant on his own property?
Isn't it like a fence? I mean, if you're limiting a fence to 6 feet high,
But I believe,
because that was, I brought the same objection when I came. That was my only objection to him having a
I
fence.
think the limit of the fence is something to do with planning. Our zoning limits the fence to 6 feet.
Zoning may
So-
also have limits on site obstruction. I think they do.
I'm not aware of it.
That's something, it's not something we're going to investigate, but
Just
Both
real
of-
quickly,
Wait.
but both of you might want to have a look at zoning. I believe there, because I did some research, we had a neighbor who planted a dogwood. So we don't have view of the water anymore in the summer. In the winter, yes, the summer, no. But, so I did some investigation, and I believe there's something in zoning, but it's not our issue.
Nope.
and just as a secondary, they, as recently as last
Yep,
summer,
Yep.
on 14, placed arborvitaes on our property line that are over 10 feet tall,
They're not over,
Up, sorry, not between the two of you.
which I can show you a picture
we,
of that.
we,
So why my view obstruction is.
because your view continues all the way
Enough.
down. I'm sorry, but
So you planted some things that wasn't permitted? Sorry, Jeff, I'm just asking.
no, they were permitted. They were permitted.
Was the fire pit permitted?
That fire pit is not a permanent structure.
Okay, I
And
just.
4 chairs are not a permanent structure.
All right.
And if I can't put them there, then just tell me that, and I won't put
all
them
right.
there. But they're not a permanent
But you're saying
structure.
that the plants that you planted were approved?
Yes, they were. And they do not extend beyond the house.
All right. I
So
can't-
they don't,
It's
they
been a while
don't
since I've seen that
obstruct the
project.
water
Okay.
view.
So your objection is that the plants he's planting to do on the west side would obstruct your
Just pick
view?
another plant. That's,
Real briefly.
oh,
Well,
folks.
there's an accompanying
I'm
letter
sorry.
that I attached from the arborist that says the mature height of the mature height of the plants that extend from where the arborvitaes stop all the way down to the stone have a mature height of 6 feet. So that's from a
pyramidal
licensed
holly goes 10 to
horticulturist, and,
15 feet.
Well, it would be nice if we saw the full name, that then we can determine then,
Absolutely.
because I have some hollies that are not tall.
I just want to ask a question for clarification. So there are plants that he's proposing to plant here that you planted on your property, but you don't want him to plant on his.
We planted them on our property before, back away from the water view. They do not obstruct his view of the water. They're between the actual 2 houses, but they don't, we did not plant anything from that point down.
I'm just, but limiting the question to type of plant that, okay,
I understand.
okay.
I understand. I do.
It is right outside my bedroom.
You guys are too much.
I don't know what room it is.
All right, we're going to continue for 2 things, the full name of the plants and the removal of the stamps. So we'll bring you back.
Next meeting?
Someone make a motion, please, for 5-6?
Motion to continue. Oh, second.
I have that, I heard a motion, I heard a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstains, thank you. Okay, we're continued. Now, we have certification of compliance. We have asked SC 762868 has asked to be continued until, Christine, they give a time frame?
She did not give a time frame, but 5/6 works.
Okay, so I take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
We're continuing until 5/6. I have the motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. 269 Hathaway Street. Christine, you're up.
I recommend issuance of a certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second?
Sorry.
I have motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That was 2318.
Yep.
How about 2460?
Recommend issuance of a certificate of compliance.
So moved.
I have that motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Next.
That was it.
We're down to minutes. I have finished the 4:3 minutes, 4:30:25 minutes. I'll send them out. They're extremely vague because it was a workshop and we made no decision, no voting or anything like that. We have minutes of 3/4/20, March 4th, 2026. I've reviewed them and find them to be complete. And how about anybody else? Any comments on those?
I think I sent you a comment. It was grammatical or something.
Oh, I was asking.
Is that the one? They had you making a terrible grammatical faux pas, and
Okay, see, I asked you for 4:30, so I wasn't sure what those comments were for.
I just got an email from you, then I have to go back on my
Yeah, it says.
email and find it, but you
I-
asked us to, so I didn't write down which one it was. It was the only one I had received from you at that point.
Because I just wanted 4:30 to be reviewed.
Okay.
So you'll
I'll
find,
get back to you.
are you comfortable with the minutes as presented to be?
Whatever,
what-
sure. It wasn't me being misquoted, so.
Yeah. I missed the word her. Grammar.
It was
So
something
on-
that sounded
so on your-
extremely awkward, and I know you didn't say it. It was just, one of those things jump out. at
Okay,
me.
March 4th,
Just listening to
2026.
It's all good.
What do you want to do, folks?
Approve the minutes.
I'm waiting.
Second?
Someone approve them as
Yes.
presented?
Kwame said
Yes.
Yes, I
approve.
said approve the
Okay,
minutes.
sorry. I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. We're approved. So Michael can sign them so they can get in. We were given a set of minutes for May 25? May 21st, 2025. They were so incomplete, we sent them back. They didn't cover most of the latter part of the minutes, meeting for approvals and things like that, so they went sent back. So right now, we're working on, we have May 21st, July 2nd, 2025, September 3rd, 2025, that we have not done. We had 2 sets of minutes that have been approved but haven't been submitted to the clerks left yet, and that was January 7th and February 4th, and then Christine's working on those, right?
I sent them to the clerks. I just don't think they've been posted yet.
Okay, because the school board has received a violation for open meeting violations because their minutes were not done, and I'm just wanting to make sure we're not in the same situation, so watching that happen. So, anything else on the agenda?
I don't think you guys are up for it, but you wanted to have that superseding discussion.
Bring it on, 28
That.
Nelson Street. I'm sorry, folks, we should talk about, you want to wait until the next meeting?
Early.
Yeah, because the state told us, go away, Wareham. We're approving 28
Wow.
Nelson Street.
They said as long as it stays within the footprint,
Yes,
but we don't know what the footprint is, whether it's, because that's what we asked for too.
because the footprint was in the middle of the road.
Yeah, so we asked for them to stay within the footprint as well.
They couldn't have their stairs.
Yeah, so what does the state mean by, as long as it stays within the footprint of,
Which footprint?
which footprint?
Yeah.
With the
And-
cantilever and stairs
Right,
and
is that
decks?
inside or outside, right?
Folks, can we table it for,
Yes.
Sure.
all right,
Happily.
Christine will make that on 5/6.
Okay.
We have stuff to sign. So please, can I have that motion?
Yes, a motion to.
Motion
I
to
move
adjourn at 9:35.
9:36. 9:35.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn at 9:35. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, thank God.
5:35 a.m.,
Night.
as it were.